Horror Fam to HHN365, a Halloween Horror Nights podcast. My name is Duff, and as always, I am here with my co-host Jess and Jonathan. What's going on, guys?
It's finally time.
It is time. People have been begging, and I'm not exaggerating, and Jonathan, you know this, begging for this episode. But before we get into what that is, go follow us on social media. That's Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Blue Sky, Red Note, whatever the Chinese sites are, at HHN365. We actually aren't on Red Note yet. TikTok at HHN365pod. Join our Discord, chat HHN365. That link is in the description. Check out our merch at HHN365.com. And if you want to join us here on the show, leave us a voicemail at 407-906-4134. And as we alluded to, today we are finally going to get to our long-awaited California Haunt Trip review.
Let's
I
go.
know. It's January. A little late. It's fine. It's fine. We just need all the time to get everyone together who we have on this episode because there's a lot. But we're going to start with someone who's kind of a mainstay. You almost have like your own segment on the show at this point. And that's going to be Jonathan from the Hauntline. Jonathan, welcome back.
Shucks. I feel right at home. Thanks for having me. It's always a good time, y'all.
Glad you're home, but you guys start paying rent.
Damn it.
No,
we had a deal, man.
I'm sorry.
We had a deal.
I'm sorry.
All right, we'll talk about it off air.
Yeah, all right. Fair. But that's not all. Of course, we have to have John on for any West Coast episode, but we have a few special guests with us. First, I'll introduce someone who is returning and was on this same exact episode 2 years ago. That would be Mary.
Hi, I'm glad to be back. I love to talk about our trips to California.
Hi, Mary.
Hi. I love it.
Strap in, folks. This is going to be a hell of an episode.
I know there are a few people who are very excited. They are ready for some Mary.
Oh, thanks. I've been told that I'm one of the favorite special guests.
Oh,
Mary rocks, man. Mary rocks.
Mary, is there a line like waiting to like meet you at HHN? I didn't get to go with you this past year, so like I'm kind of sad I missed it.
It probably just consists of one person.
Oh, well, I mean, hey, one person is still a fan.
She's being humble, Jess. We had to clear crowds everywhere we were going. It was nuts, man.
That's what I figured. That Duff is Mary's boyfriend.
Correct. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Worm boyfriend, I believe it.
Worm, yeah.
Worm.
We
I
couldn't
am
do
the worm
anything.
girlfriend of 365.
Wait, you're my worm girlfriend.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Now this is
You're
getting
right.
messy. We're not doing this. Custody of Mary match.
Okay, moving on, because we do have more guests. And this is the fun part, because these specific guests were first-timers. Well, sort of. Partially. Anyways, let's get to it. So first, I will introduce B. Welcome to the show.
Hello. I don't know how to follow up what Mary just did.
You really don't have to. It's okay.
No, I'm really excited to talk about the trip. It was fun. I like yapping. So, yeah, I'm excited.
And then also a complete first-timer now. First time to California, I believe, or Southern California.
Yes. Yeah.
Right? Is Daniel.
Hey, what's up? Happy to be back. Yeah. Let's get to these houses. It's been cooking for a long time. Conversation is juicy.
You're forever spoken about on the show, even when people don't realize it.
It is true.
It's nice to have you here
Yeah.
again.
I know both these events, we are going to talk about HHN Hollywood and Not Scary Farm. Those are the two we are discussing in this episode, just so everyone knows ahead of time. I'm sure it's very fresh in all of our minds, right?
So fresh. So fresh and so clean.
Fresh as the YouTube walkthroughs
Whoa.
I watched 2 hours ago.
That's all I'm gonna say.
Remember every scene, detail by detail.
So
Oh yeah.
I bet you do, Jonathan. I actually have no doubt.
Oh,
about
Jonathan
it.
does,
is
100%.
the one. He's gonna be like so mad at me with how little I remember in a minute.
now, some of us
God.
did do more haunts than this. John, I know you did a lot more than this in California. But all of us, except one, did Dark Harbor also. We are not going to go over that in this episode. I am going to ask for, from everyone who went,
Remember vividly.
Trigger warning. Duh.
sorry, for everyone who went, I'm going to put you on the spot. one word review of our experience.
Oh no.
One?
Let's start. Yeah, just one. I'll start with Jess.
I have it. All caps. Woof.
Beautiful.
Woof.
Daniel.
I don't know if I can commit to one word, but I will commit to a phrase that I use often, and it's "Don't be sorry, just be better."
They can't even be sorry. Yeah. How would you get to them?
Oh, that's a good point.
You gotta swim through the people.
B.
Tragic.
Perfect. Mary.
I was gonna say I wasn't gonna be just a word, but if you gotta go to the bathroom, you better hold it.
If you gotta go to the bathroom, don't.
Exactly.
Leave.
And then, I'm just going to say agreed, because I agree with all those. And then I want to go to John. You can give us a real answer, since you got to experience it more than once and got a much better experience at one point than us.
My one word is sorry. It really was like an off night for Dark Harbor, because I went a couple nights after we went. I think I went a grand total of 3 times, and there were definitely better nights. That night in particular, I don't know why, but everybody and their mother was there, and it really
and boy, did they let them in.
Oh yeah, man. They let them in. They were everywhere. It was rough. So I would like to say, if you guys come back out next season, we'll do it again. We'll do it better. I have a better idea of how to navigate the event. Just because, again, I didn't expect everybody in Long Beach and also California to be there. So,
yeah, I will say this is more than a word, but it is the first haunt where I actually feared for my life on that one part on the bridge.
Oh my God.
I've never had an experience. I saw God, and I do not believe. Like, Daniel also saw God. I was right behind him.
Yeah.
I will say I was just glad we were able, we did the one house. I'm just glad it was a house that was on the Queen Mary itself, because that was cool to see it on the ship.
Mm-hmm.
For what it is, it's very cool. But it's just the ops were just not.
They're bad.
Opping.
Yeah.
So.
And let me tell you, that is a very classic Dark Harbor problem. So even though it's changed companies, I'd say you got the full Dark Harbor experience.
Oh, yes, the classic. Just what I wanted.
I'm really thankful we went early like we did, because I think when we got there, literally 10 minutes later, we got a text saying that the parking was full. And so we really looked out in that one too.
I'm very happy I did not attend this haunt this year.
Your one word is grateful. There you go.
Yeah, grateful, exactly.
All right, so with that, we're going to move on to our actual episode, now that we got that out of the way. Before we do get into kind of the main segment, there is one rumor we have to talk about, just one. And Jess, I want you to bring this one in, if you don't mind.
Now, why on earth would you want me to do that, Duff?
No reason.
So, according to Insider Legacy, a WWE house, thank you for that accent, Daniel. WWE house featuring the Wyatt Six is rumored to be coming to HHN Orlando and Hollywood this year. But okay, before I get too excited and into all of that, this clue was it was solved by our Discord server members again. Yeah. I don't know what the clue was. I'm not savvy on that this year, so
they're just like Sudoku games, and people solve them, and the numbers lead to like American Dad episodes. It's just a little puzzle to get to the episode that leads to the rumor. I think the episode was just like a wrestling themed episode of American Dad, but
we're back to American Dad.
We're still on American Dad.
We're still on American Dad. I'm sorry.
Never left.
See, I'm not savvy still to the legacy rumors. So to clarify, he has not said that this is just a Wyatt Six house, though he feels like they're going to play a big part. This is his quote, and then I will correct it. There's only one corner of WWE that leans horror right now. It's mostly the Six, maybe Baron Corbin's Demon, but the vibe feels very Wyatt inspired. Baron Corbin hasn't worked for WWE in over a year. And he never had the demon character. That's Finn Balor, who is currently still employed by WWE. Last time we saw the demon, Duff was actually at that Mania 39 in Hollywood. 14 staples in his head. That is horror. He is correct. The demon is horror, but the Wyatt Six. I've been speaking about this for 5 years and screaming at the top of my lungs. There are people who have been doing it for longer than that. I said last year, end quote, on this show, they're not going to do Bray Wyatt because he just passed. That was before we had the full Wyatt Six as it is right now on the roster. I don't see this being a Wyatt Six house because they're kind of fumbling them right now. Bray's brother is the leader of that group, Uncle Howdy. So they are continuing the legacy with that. And Jason Barker or Baker, I always get his last name wrong, but he was Bray's best friend and he's the special effects artist that did all of the work on The Fiend and all of the Wyatt Six, all of the Firefly Funhouse, all of that. He also did Rhea's horns for War Games this year, or like a bunch of shit. So I can see them doing that and honoring Bray with the Wyatt Six. The Demon never wrestled Bray Wyatt. So that's where I'm like, I think he's just pulling shit out of his ass for that. But
I mean, it sounds like he's just kind of assuming everything here beyond WWE and horror.
There also is the Final Testament, which is more like goth kids who were given too much money by their parents.
Oh no,
that sounds like the merch last year.
Exactly.
Ha.
John, am I wrong? Like, the Final Testament is very stupid, but they've just feuded with the Wyatt Six, I think, or whatever. They're about to. But I could fully see this happening. There's a bunch of spooky characters. There's a spooky doll. There's a spooky pig, a vulture, a buzzard, whatever. I can also see them doing a bunch of fiends. We had the Fiend on Fire. We had Randy Orton wrestled him. So, like, everyone can be there. We can have Alexa Bliss's character. I'm so fucking excited. This rumor makes a lot of sense to me, but it's also weird that this happens after Raw moves off of mainstream TV and onto Netflix, and their streaming platform is also now going over there for pay-per-views.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably why I can't buy into it 100%, to be honest with you. Like, I'm excited at the thought of it. I love the thought of it, but yeah, some things just aren't connecting 100% for me. So, like, I'm trying to not get too excited personally.
I think the biggest connection people are going to make on why this rumor makes sense is the return of Mike Aiello to HHN full-time. Anyone who follows Mike Aiello on any social media will see that he is a big wrestling fan. Also, there was just this perfectly kind of lined up time near the end of HHN last year, or in the middle, kind of when they really started to ramp up work on the following year, where they did team building at it was Raw or SmackDown, one of the two, I don't remember, but at a wrestling show, a WWE show. So those are kind of the main connections that people are really trying to point to as like, well, this is why it would happen.
Mm-hmm.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Anything's possible. I mean, Mike's back. I mean, they've had a good relationship because of Peacock and everything. And I don't see it not happening. I do think this would be the time to do it if they are. But if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I don't know how this relates to a flower, though. So don't ask me that.
Yeah. Now, you're going to have to tell me what it's called. I will suggest that if you're like me and you wouldn't know much about this, go watch a video that I saw when it came out. It was probably in the summer, right, Jess? Of the Wyatt Six. That's kind of when they became a real thing, or launched as the Wyatt Six. I don't know how you put it, but it was like a haunted house on WWE.
Yes.
So I think
it was so cool.
If you are struggling to figure how this would work, you need to go watch that. Jess, how do they watch that? What would they search? Just Wyatt Six?
Yeah, Wyatt Six, or I mean, you can honestly look up. There's a couple matches. There's a Firefly Funhouse match with John Cena that was really fun during the pandemic. That was very haunted house vibes. Where we can even go back beyond that, and the Wyatt family versus AJ Styles in the swamp was very HHN house, and that was an occult group before he was the Fiend.
That's right. Yeah.
With Luke Harper and Eric Rowan. So, like, this man has the history and the shit. We can get a bunch of stuff and different settings. So Look up you can look up Wyatt family, Bray Wyatt, The Fiend, or Wyatt 6, and anything you'll get. There are also haunted house matches, but those are from NXT. They're actually shot at Sir Henry's. So
What? I didn't know that. That's
those
cool.
are pretty cool if you want to check those out, but those are not the Wyatt family or Bray Wyatt. But if you look up anything with Bray Wyatt's name, they also just did a documentary over the summer with Jason and his brother talking about The Fiend and its final evolution, because he was supposed to have a final evolution, but he passed. So I can see them kind of almost like honoring him, and they gave him a Legends contract, so any of like the rights and royalties from this go to his family and his kids and his wife that he left. So for me, like any of this merch, like all of this, all the wrestlers that were his friends, they're going to be there. They're going to be hyping this up. They're going to be supporting it. So like, I think this is a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, I think
Absolutely.
specifically in Orlando, this would be a home run.
Mm-hmm.
What's
As someone
interesting,
who's not attached at all, it makes a ton of sense. Sorry, Jonathan, go ahead.
no, it's funny you said that, because what's interesting is when this clue came out, it was like framed as Orlando and maybe Hollywood, but then Legacy went back and said, nope, it's both. That's what the rumor is for. So whoever is Hollywood source went like, after this clue came out, we're like, nope, it's both coasts. And I'm interested to see if it comes, how it would do in California.
Well, California had the only WWE house in 2000.
It is
True.
So, I mean, but that's all I have to say. We're not here to talk about that. We'll probably talk about it enough in the next couple months. So,
Nope. So let's get into what we are here to talk about. That is, of course, our West Coast haunt trip. We say West Coast, literally just Southern California. 2 counties in Southern California at that. Let's start off with Halloween Horror Nights 2024 at Universal Studios Hollywood. Let's just start up with the vibe of the event, right? Because we know we all love the vibe that Hollywood brings for the event. Sorry, I choked a little bit.
You were doing so good.
I know.
You were doing
I
so
tried.
good.
I tried. I'm kidding. Let's start with food and drink options. For most of us, we only experience the RIP tour, so that kind of limits our food and beverage intake, at least from the standard guest perspective. We spent a lot of time eating the food that was provided to us from a buffet and drinking from that bar just for RIP guests. We'll try to avoid talking about that because we've done that in the past. So let's go to something that we did do. I think all of us, I'd assume, have done, which was the weekend bar.
Yeah.
Any big thoughts about the weekend bar anyone wants to discuss?
I love the vibe. It was just so good. I think it was better than the one they had previously. Like I know there was like an actor there. I was only there for a little bit, but I know there was like an actor there. It was like dancing along and the music was pumping and it had great photo ops, and at night the lights of the weekend bar, just you could just see them like across the park. It was absolutely gorgeous. The song lineup, they had like a ton of songs in there. I just really enjoyed hanging out there, especially my second night where I didn't do RIP, but I had like early access and they opened the bar a little bit early. So like while waiting for Weekend in Texas to open, I would just like sit there and just like take in everything while like it wasn't crowded at all. It was such an amazing thing, and I'm so happy they brought it back, because I love The Weeknd, I love his music, and just sitting in an area themed to that and playing it is always going to be a win. I don't have any thoughts on the drinks though, so that's going to be you guys.
I do agree on the vibe for sure. I don't know if I liked it better than the last one, but I think that's more of a personal preference towards After Hours than Dawn FM aesthetically. Where the first one was very much red After Hours, that was the vibe. This one was more blue Dawn FM. A lot more kind of interchangeability this time, not stuck to just one album. But however, the vibe was really cool. The music bumping, the drinks aesthetically matching everything. I think they did a really good job with that. I think it's something that should always come around. I think it's a huge feature that adds a lot of vibe to the event. Especially, I think in the lower lot, there's really just not much vibe of HHN. There's really not much going on. So having that down there, I think, is extremely important to the event. So I hope they keep bringing back things like this. I think this was a great iteration of it again. The drinks were fine. I think we liked them better than the past couple times.
Did you guys try all 4? They had 4 of them.
We
down
sure
there, right?
did.
Yes.
Okay.
We sure did.
I only tried 2. The other 2 didn't sound super interesting to me.
Were they still Cutwater or no?
Nope. No, they were not.
Okay.
I actually have them right now. I'm going to look them up.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, look at that.
So
I
we
remember
had,
liking it a little more.
yeah, they were definitely better than last time. So we had How Do I Make You Love Me, which was rum, passion fruit puree, peach syrup, lemonade, chocolate butterfly. We had Too Late, which was tequila, peach, lime juice, raspberry puree, grenadine-filled syringe. Is There Someone Else, which was vodka, blue curacao, lime juice, Sprite, and the gummy eyeball. Then there was also the non-alcoholic specialty drink Out of Time, which was Coke, raspberry, and ginger syrup, strawberry heart jellies. And then they also had cut water you could just buy. Because of course. But
Hey,
yeah,
man.
so they weren't all Cutwater cocktails, which elevated it a lot. They were actually hand poured, all hand poured, I believe. I don't think any of them were pre-batch, were they?
I don't think so.
I can't remember, to be honest with you.
That
Yeah.
was a while ago, Duff. That was a whole hurricane ago.
Yeah, I think they were all hand poured. So that makes a huge difference too. I mean, they weren't the best cocktails ever, but I wasn't mad about them.
Yeah, I don't remember much of this. I remember, not to talk about it, but we had a nice seating area.
No,
got
that
there
was
at
the
the
best
right
part.
time.
Great seating area.
That was the best part.
And we had
That
unlimited
was-
soda and water.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I again hate to be that
Oh, you have
person.
Coke to go.
We got Jonathan. How many? I have a question for Jonathan. 365. We were not there to witness it. He knows what I'm about to ask.
Yeah, I do.
feel
I
it.
do.
Jonathan, how heavy was your backpack with Diet Coke?
Oh, it was
that
bad.
night?
It was
Okay.
very bad. I had
I
so
was
many to bring
so
to the
sad.
hotel because we were stocked for the rest of the trip. We were good.
I was so sad you weren't there because no one was there to hoard Diet Coke for me.
They didn't think about it. It's an important thing. That's what you do RIP tour for. You get all the soda for the rest of the trip.
No, honestly, we were stocked. Like, it was amazing.
Did you
I can
stuff some
always
desserts in
count
there too,
on
and
Jonathan.
some deli meat?
No. Just the soda. It's very important.
Don't get crazy, John. That's insane. But he will carry 25 pounds worth of Diet Coke on his back for the whole night.
It pays
He's
for
a
itself.
real one, man.
He also carries the camera at knots. So, useful.
Yeah.
So
It's all the muscles.
You were missed, Jonathan. You were missed.
I appreciate
That's what
that.
I'm saying.
Jack Johnson.
Just for the sodas
Yeah. And the camera, don't forget.
and the camera. That's too.
I do want to ask the HHN Hollywood first timers what they think about this experience and kind of how it compares to an Orlando food and bev immersive experience, if you will.
Oh God.
I mean, we didn't have like any of the food there. One, I don't remember seeing much food. Like, even if we were hungry, I feel like we were just zooming. So none of it stood out to me versus I feel like I go to eat the food at ours sometimes. Like the fish and chips this year, I would sometimes just go for that.
Yeah.
Like that was a highlight of the night. So I feel like our food is better, unfortunately. But I didn't try enough of the Hollywood stuff.
Yeah. I think when we were free to roam, we were just kind of like, it was about accomplishing the houses again and not necessarily focusing on much else. So plus we were kind of spoiled, so we really had no reason to.
Yeah, that's really the toughest part about us.
Yeah.
Trying to analyze that from our perspective. Just going the one night with the way we did it, it's tough.
I'm gonna be honest. I went 2 nights, and the second I still didn't really try any of the HHN food. Like even the second
There
night
you
when
go.
we were kind of just chilling out, I just went to like one of the normal quick services and got something. I was not in the mood to risk having something that it probably wasn't going to be that good or just be overpriced. Like I just wanted like a filling meal, so I didn't really go for any of the food either. And I had the time. I just was like, nah, I'm okay.
Well, let's hand it over to the local. Any further thoughts on that, John?
Oh yeah, the food and drink situation could always improve in Hollywood. We had, I think, a grand total of 8 items.
Whoa.
Just FYI. There was maybe like 3 at the barbecue place, one at the fucking corn dog stand, the weekend pizza, and then the tacos that they usually serve, or they're like birria that they serve in the Dia de los Muertos area. That's it. Like, we didn't have much at all. There might have been something at the entrance. I can't remember, at Five and Dime or Hollywood and Vine, whatever it's called. But yeah, it could always improve. I always love going to Orlando. Mostly, I mean, a lot of it is for the food, just because like you really could try something different every night and have a different experience. And there's just so many options. So Hollywood, as with most things on this list, definitely could step it up a little in that department.
Fair. All right, let's move on then and head over to merch. I would wager that most of our opinions will be similar to our HHN33 wrap-up episode because most of that merch was shared across both coasts. However, of course, there were a few specific items to this event. I'll start out. The Weekend Nightmare Trilogy key art design on the shirt looked terrible. But I liked the hat. It was simple, to the point. I bought that. Otherwise, I mean, I like that several of their original concepts do get merch. I love that. Otherwise, there's not too much to stand out again because I didn't like the generic look of the merch this year across both coasts. So
the slash vinyl, though.
Yes, I did. I actually had John pick one up for me before we got there to make sure they'd be in stock. Thank you, John.
No problem.
Anytime. I love a vinyl for the event. I'll always take that.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to say, I think I agree about the merch, but one thing that did stand out is that the weekend hat you bought, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was actually embroidered, whereas any other merch you get for hats or anything for HHN are just like print-ons, and so the quality really lacks, but I think that it was really good quality for the weekend hat at least.
Yes,
that's a good point.
You're correct. Yeah. I should shout them out for that actually because I complain so much about the hats that the event makes for both coasts because they are just like screen printed garbage quality. So Hollywood actually took the effort and, I mean, financial hit to put out a nice quality hat. So I appreciate that. Thanks, Hollywood.
I have a great. Sorry, go for
ahead,
it.
Sorry. I was just gonna say that I do think that the theming of this year kind of goes a little bit better with Hollywood, just mainly just because of their like main entrance zone really fits like the merch better than it did in Orlando.
Yeah, it's a good point. Thanks to our punks.
Not your lords. Definitely not the lords.
No, strictly the punks.
Yeah.
I guess like.
Oh, sorry, Jonathan.
No, you're good.
Go. I'm sorry. I always cut you off.
Nobody let Jonathan talk. Nobody.
He has a gripe. Let him go.
I do. It's important. How the hell did we get no Texas Chainsaw Massacre merch? Like, like with the art on the concept art or something, because like I didn't get any Texas merch in HHN 30 because I did not like the shirt. It was just his face. I did not really like it, and I didn't get it. And I was always so mad because I'm like, man, Texas is one of my favorite houses. But luckily, Hollywood this year, I finally get to get a chainsaw shirt from HHN. Here we go, and they're just like, nope, no Texas merch for you. Which is crazy because it's Texas Chainsaw Massacre. How did they not get? I know it's like a rights thing, but how do they not get the rights to get merch for Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Like I don't understand it.
Especially it being the 50th anniversary of it too. You would think they would have at least something.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe somebody has the merchandising distribution rights for the 50th specifically, though.
Oh,
that could be it.
Could be.
That's a good
just
point.
To consider. I hate to be that person, Jonathan, but like that might be it.
I'm just mad for personal, like very selfish reasons.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially with we'll get into the house later, but like I was like I went through them. I want merch, and they were like, no, sorry,
no merch.
Have Little Boo instead.
Time limit for Jonathan on how long he gets to talk about TCM.
That's true.
limit. But yeah, I'd assume it has to be something with not just like the price of rights, but actually get tough to acquire those rights, because in what world would they not want to sell Texas merch?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's an automatic money. So they had to have actual issues trying to get the rights for it.
So what you're saying is they only did it for me, so I didn't have it. That's what you're saying.
Correct. They hate you. John Murdy personally hates you because
Personal vendetta, yeah.
he listens to the show and hears you talk shit every week.
It's true.
If he listens to the show, I think he might hate one of us more than Jonathan.
No, well, you have a jingle for him, so he probably likes you.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
But then I also afterwards go, John, I'll fight you.
But he
Every
might think
time.
you're talking to Jonathan, so you never know.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
That's why
Yeah.
I'm gonna hide behind. I'm just a girl.
Like, I'm not talking to you, Murdy. I'm talking to Jonathan, my co-host.
I just call him Murdy because it makes me feel better.
Exactly.
Oh
All
my
right.
God.
A good way to kind of finish out this conversation. Does anyone, I guess, A, did you buy merch? B, is there a piece of merch that stood out to you that you're like, yeah, I'm so happy I grabbed this? For me, it's the vinyl. We already discussed that. Great snag.
I don't think I got anything exclusive from HHN at all. I just got random merch from Hollywood.
Nope. I got nothing from Hollywood this year.
I don't think I did either.
I don't think I have anything from either coasts this year.
Damn, wow.
I also don't think I bought anything for Orlando.
I have
Not a
one shirt,
single
and it's because
thing?
Daniel gave it to me.
No, I don't think so. I
Really?
think I talked about it when we reviewed. If I did, it was like one thing, and it definitely was a shirt.
I'm pretty sure you said something. Like you bought something. I just don't
don't-
remember what it
I have
was.
nothing in my house.
I
Daniel
don't-
bought the Mel's sign.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
But that's
not.
Oh, that's fun. That's cool.
I don't know. Whatever. We're not talking about that right now.
Weird.
But I didn't buy anything for Hollywood.
I got the.
I did
Weeknd
find it
shirt.
weird that you could buy the Mel's Dye-In shirt in California, even
Yeah,
though
it made
theirs
no
is
sense.
not Mel's
It made
Dye-In.
zero sense. Yeah, that's so true, Mary.
It is. They have a Mel's, but it was like
It's not the Dye-In.
It's a
though.
drive-in.
No,
Yeah,
Oh,
it's not the same.
did they
it's
do
not
the
as
same thing?
special.
No, it's
No.
crazy.
Why?
Right.
Yeah,
They
you
took
think
off the
they'd just
UAV
do it.
on
I
the
guess I didn't
sleeve.
like care to notice. I just goes like, oh, there it is, great.
Oh, there you go.
I mean, ours is better. So
I wonder if Orlando's like, don't you fucking dare.
turf
All right.
war.
Let's move into more of the meat and potatoes of the event, starting with everyone's favorite, the shows. I said that almost mockingly, but I will say I truly enjoy both of these shows. I did not see the first one we're going to discuss this year, The Purge, Dangerous Waters. I did see it last year, or I guess 2 years ago.
Okay, good.
Now,
Thank God.
that's the only reason I didn't go this year. Thought it was great. Who saw it? Who saw The Purge, Dangerous Waters? I think everyone here, right? Or at least
No.
No.
between the
No.
last 2 years.
What?
You've seen it once.
B and Daniel have not seen it. I
Oh,
saw
I
it
thought you
last
guys
year.
went. Oh,
Oh,
you did. You went to a
you-
house.
No, I
That's
don't
right.
think we
You went
did.
to a house.
I did not see
Oh,
it.
The Waterworld show.
We saw
earlier.
Waterworld during the day.
Yeah, I was really
That's
worried.
right.
I forgot like a whole thing.
Okay,
we
all
did.
right. all right.
Okay, so three
Yeah,
people
no.
here did not see The Purge, Dangerous Waters at all.
Oh,
And I
my
think
heart breaks.
only 2 people saw it this year.
Did you see it, Jonathan?
No.
Only 1 person saw it this year.
Okay, so John, what changed? Anything?
No, not really. I mean,
Oh.
they added like maybe two or three more little stunt spots.
Oh, okay.
But I'm glad that they're keeping it. They have it returning. It's a nice way to keep those stunt folks and working. But also it's just a fun show, man. It always gets a good pop. I love the way that they reuse the Waterworld's stunt spots. Yeah, it's just good, man. I really enjoy it. I hope it never goes away. So enjoy it while you can, folks.
Yeah, it's one of those things I definitely would have seen had I had more than one night. But going one night,
Sure.
that's tough. That's tough.
No, I'm always going to prioritize houses, and because it didn't really change, and we saw Waterworld during the day, so it was like. Also, I talked about it last year. The amount of social anxiety the Blinky Cup in the crowd gave me, that was real. I'm not doing that again. It's so dark in there, and the Blinky Cups are liquid activated.
Yeah,
So you have to finish your drink, or everyone's looking at you.
Mhm.
that was a moment. You were the star.
You were also drinking on.
I mean, yeah,
Well, you didn't care. That's the
I
problem.
didn't care.
I care.
All right, so we'll just move on to Late Night with Chucky then. I guess Jonathan, did you watch it?
Yes.
Okay, so four of us saw it. There we go. There's a start. I did prioritize this because it is new, and I want to make sure I at least try to catch what isn't new. And I was pleasantly surprised. I thought it would be extremely corny. I knew they weren't going to be like they were in the past with Insult Emporium, which is a good thing, by the way. So I was like, okay, but they're just going to do like really lame jokes now. And there were some. Don't get me wrong, there were some. But I think the way it was presented and the way they handled getting actual like guest questions, it worked out really well. And it was pretty funny at the end of the day. It was interactive and engaging. So, I mean, it's kind of what you want in a show. It was quick. I think the waits kind of got long, which is unfortunate, but otherwise, as someone who didn't have to wait, great. I had a really good time for what it was.
Yeah, I mean, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was funny. I was very apprehensive about it because I was like, I don't know about this, but I thought that it was a lot less corny than I thought it was going to be, and it was pretty entertaining.
I have thoughts on this show.
Oh, let's hear him.
I
Jonathan.
really wanted to like it. I was definitely this show's defender and hypeless and whatever. I was like, yeah, Chucky show, I got to see this. I don't know if it was just the person who was doing Chucky at the time, or they were having, just a slow night and just, things weren't hitting. But this person playing Chucky, and I feel bad, but they were not Chucky. They were not trying to be Chucky. The voice was not there at all. Like, not even, you can do like a Chucky impression that's like not very good, but still is kind of works, like Orlando did in the Scare Zone. This person did not try with Chucky with the voice. The jokes, all of them were not my thing. They just did not seem. They were. I researched it. They were all like pre-made. None of these were guest questions. So I know it varies between show to show, but all of my questions were ones that were
Really?
like on the roster. There's actually so many of those, like every
That's
show.
Unfortunate.
It's very much false advertising, which kind of stinks. But
surprise, surprise, they found it very difficult to reel in the crowds to like find legitimate questions.
Yeah.
Who would have thought?
Who would
have
have
thought?
I asked about Chucky Ultimate Kill Count, but I guess he didn't want to answer that question, which is fair. But yeah, like his whole thing was like his biggest joke of the day that everyone was going crazy about was him just talking about the size of his penis, and I just yeah.
Oh no!
It
What
was
the fuck?
yeah. It was like a question like, oh, how tall am I? No, like 29 inches. Wait, you meant my height or something? It's like, all right. It just was not my thing. I think I maybe just got a bad showing, and I didn't want to go back, and I didn't really need to go back. It probably was better in other showings, but there was just it was not what I wanted, except for the fact that at the end he was like, make sure to watch my show on Peacock. That was good. Everything else though, I this is a great concept that I think they can improve upon. It just was not there for me yet.
That's fair. And I mean, if he didn't even sound like Chucky at all, we definitely had a different person. Because ours was definitely, I'm not going to say he was perfect on the voice, but he was trying to be Chucky for sure.
Mm-hmm. There had to be like 3 or 4 different voices, because I've heard a couple
I think
of versions.
there were exactly 3. I want to say.
There we go. I just for somehow got the worst one, I guess.
Now, John, a better experience, I hope, for you?
I was pleasantly surprised, but I agree with Jonathan. Hello, John.
Hello.
Yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised by it, but I think it could have been a little longer. I think there could have been a bit more variety to keep people coming back, because that was kind of like just a one and done experience, and I do feel again bad for anybody who waited more than 20 minutes for it. But the concept, to Jonathan's point, is definitely there. They've got the makings of greatness. They just got to figure it out a little bit more, fiddle with it, get into a better show flow, and I think it could be really good.
Yeah, I actually, funnily enough, I like that it was short. I know you kind of brought that up as like a disappointment. I like that.
But
Get in, get out, get on with the rest of
Exactly.
the event. I like that.
It does make sense. It does make sense. But the line would just get so long, and
Yeah.
I would just be like, "Oh, people,
I mean,
please don't be
I think
waiting
when we-
50 minutes for this."
When we did it, it was posted at like an hour or more than an hour.
No way.
We didn't
dude.
do standby, luckily, but yeah, no. So like it was, and it looked pretty long. So I think
Woof.
people were waiting probably close to an hour for what was it, 10 minutes? Not even.
Yikes.
Mhm.
Yeah, that'd be rough. All right. Well, now let's move on to our scare zones, which everyone did experience. Maybe we didn't spend too much time in them, but we experienced them. We're going to start out with one that we probably didn't really see much at all of, but Chainsaw Punks.
Mhm.
This is one of the 2 zone locations that we kind of knock every year for just kind of being rehashed, and they feel like they blend together. Any strong thoughts on Chainsaw Punks by any chance?
Oh, they're strong, all right. But I digress.
No,
I think
don't digress.
I love when the merchandise matches something that's actually offered at the event,
Yes.
Good point.
Excellent. Valid, yeah.
and
I love it.
that's my thought.
I think the only time we really spent time in it was when we were leaving, and there weren't even any chainsaws by that point.
Oh, no.
That is
Yeah.
true.
Or during the day.
Yeah. True.
It was there. I feel like this year we joked about like ghost toy, whatever the fuck it was, ghost dolls, whatever. But like we spent even less time in the 3 zones this year that are all like jumbled together. So I have like 0 thoughts on this and Skull Lords really.
Yeah, my thoughts are pretty
Ditto.
minimal. I'm not gonna lie.
I forgot those were 2 separate zones, to be honest with you.
That's the ongoing joke, Mary.
I don't remember
Oh.
them at all.
I don't know if we saw them really.
Yeah, I have no memory.
I don't
Nothing.
think we did. We kind of just zoomed by them. We just were going house to house.
I liked the van they had. That was cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
the
more
van?
scenic
Yeah.
than they've had in recent years. I'll say that
Mhm.
much.
The
You guys
van
got-
that didn't
You
have
guys
an
got the
X.
good stuff.
The good stuff.
They brought out the fine china for you.
Hey, there is good stuff coming for scare zones. Don't worry. There is. There is. So I'm going to jump out of order from what our outline says. Let's just go to Skull Lords because they're the ones we confuse for each other. And to be honest, could have done the same this year. Not going to lie. If the punk wasn't so like specifically themed, it would have blended too well. I legitimately don't think I have thoughts on Skull Lords. I don't remember shit about it. Not going to lie.
Same.
12-foot skeleton. I do remember that was a set piece.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
love to see it.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Stole it
They're
right
pink,
from Knots.
Maybe.
Yeah, there were 2 of them, right?
Yeah.
That sounds right.
I don't know.
I might
don't
just
know.
be like agreeing with you.
Yeah.
I might
No,
just
B is
be-
literally sitting here just shaking their head at every. Yeah, uh-huh.
I do believe there was technically a skull lord and a skull lady, like a king and a queen.
What?
I think.
Well, a lord and a lady are not a king and a queen, John. Hold up.
Well, okay, all right. Sorry.
Daniel could correct us actually. He was the paladin, not me.
Sorry.
A lord and a lady are not a king and a queen.
No,
Correct.
not the same.
Thank you.
Okay,
Sorry.
Lower
well,
than.
Lower than. Oh. We don't even have a king and a queen skull.
No.
That's crazy.
Nobility
Lore.
nonetheless, but
Well, yeah, there you go.
They're
So
skull lords.
there you go.
that's the skull lords for you.
Less than a king.
My urge to bring up Torture Fair now. But I will not. We will move on. Into a surprising, just because it's new location, so that was a nice addition there. And especially needed with how things were laid out this year. But Murder Crows, which
Oh, the crows.
Yeah.
Love the crows.
I'd say is a
man.
zone, not too much. However, it had a nice little centerpiece,
It's an area.
an area.
Is that not
A
just a
scary
zone?
area.
It's just a synonym
I
for
like them. They're
zone.
cool. I wish there were more of them.
I like the little baby.
The little baby.
Big same.
Little guy.
Oh,
Animatronic was a very nice touch. I like that.
That
He was a hit,
insane.
man. He was a huge hit.
Loved him. Loved
People
his
love
work.
that baby. I
Bring
love
him-
it.
Bring him back.
Did he have a name?
I think it was literally just like Crow Baby. I think it was or Baby Crow or
Okay,
something.
well in
like that.
Orlando he would have been like Julius the Fifth or something.
Yeah,
so, like,
and there would have been lore to his lineage
Oh my
and why he's next
he
in
would have
line
been
to
the
be a-
king. He's the Skull
That's-
King.
He's the Lord.
Did it?
Got it.
Orlando literally name one of your crows Edgar Allan Crow, and Murdy was
Yeah.
like, "What? He has a
Was
name?"
that Orlando?
Yeah, because it came from
The Screamers.
The Screamers,
Mhm.
which is from Orlando. So I have to assume if Murdy didn't know about this name, and he's named on the Screamers, Orlando took it upon themselves to name one of your crows.
No. That was a Hollywood thing. Hollywood came up with that
Did they?
because
Because Murdy
yeah,
was
but-
like, "What?"
Murdy tweeted out one day was like, "Hey, somebody named this crow," and then I think Edgar Allan Crow
Hey,
was
somebody named this crow.
yeah
He's
yeah.
Oozing with originality, this man. Sorry, that one was real. Like,
Okay, now Murdy might hate you more.
oh, now he hates me. Now, if he
now
touches,
he's turned off the podcast
Exactly.
right
if he
now.
touches the WWE house, I might swing this year. I might get trespassed from Hollywood. We'll find out.
If it makes you feel better, I don't think he listens. So
Oh,
There we go.
I'm confident. I still would talk this way if he did. Don't get me wrong, but
I want to see his Spotify Wrapped right now. I want to see it.
It's us in the Hauntline.
all right.
I will
any-
say,
Oh, sorry. There you go.
yeah. Something I did like about this zone is something I was kind of hoping would happen, and it did. Is that the crows were very good distractions, like
Oh, yeah.
incredibly good distractions. Because even if you knew there were scare actors like actually lurking in the zone, ready to scare people, you didn't care because there's a big crow dancing, and you're like, I'm gonna look at that, and then the actors would like get in your face and scare the shit out of you, like. That is it was absolutely like a perfect area for distraction scares. They all worked really well. And while I had a lot of doubts about this area, like in spec and in hype or whatever, I think for what they had to work with, I really enjoyed it. It was actually a highlight of the trip, being able to see all the crows in one place and getting some scares along the way. It was a very smart move to put them all in one area and sort of give them their time to shine.
Yeah, the crows are like the best thing that's happened to Hollywood in so long, man. Like they're top tier. Those crows are great. I freaking love the crows,
They are.
man.
I wish they'd get a full scare zone treatment though.
Yeah, honestly, like the whole like I've been saying this for years. The whole like, oh, it's two different zones at the beginning. Shut up. Just make it one big zone. And that whole thing could be crows themed.
Question:
Yo.
Can we fit the crows in the toxic tunnel?
Actually, maybe. Because it was a pretty tall tunnel. Maybe.
No one would leave. No one would get to the metro a lot. They'd all just be staying in the toxic tunnel, dancing with the crows. With
Dude,
the dubstep
a
music.
crow rave. A crow rave
God.
though under the tunnel. I'm up for that.
Hey, maybe we'll find out this year.
Baby Crow's just in the middle, just like wilding out at everyone.
I love it.
Okay, time to move on to the scare zone everyone cares about. Jess, go ahead, please.
I get to talk about wrestling twice in one episode. What is going on? Luchadores Monstruosos.
Love them.
I love those silly little monster wrestlers. They were great.
They were so animated too. Like they were embodying the camp, which is appreciated.
Yep. I feel
When
like
we were
they put a very specific type of scare actor in that zone every year.
Yeah.
Like you're always
Oh,
gonna
yeah.
get the very like, I guess animated's the best word for it, but like these characters who really create a character, always,
Mm.
every year. In that zone, that's what you get. Obviously different themes. Well, for a couple of years it wasn't really different themes, but we're not talking about that. But yeah, they knocked it out. They knocked it out of the park.
Zone was fantastic. I remember my dad, my brother, and I were sitting in the I forgot what it was. I think it's just like a bakery area, like in that sort of section. We were just sitting inside, and through the window, we saw one of the monsters just looking at us, just staring, and we're like, "Oh my god!" I've never like really experienced that. I've only seen like videos of that happen. I'm like, "Oh shit!" It just happens here because these actors are going insane. The vibe was fantastic. The music was great. All the scares were fantastic. Like I really loved this zone a lot more than I did last year. With whatever, I forgot what it was, but what was in this area, I think they really knocked this one out of the park, and I'm very happy about it.
Yeah, this zone kind of ends up being like my favorite one every year. It's something about that little stretch of road that just makes for like such good interactions. They did a great job. It was fun little theme.
Yeah,
I think
I like
Yeah.
it.
the fact that they put a ring in there was just like, yeah, you did it. You fucking did it.
Man, they should have went all for it and just made it a real ring and had some like indie wrestlers, like hire like a group of 6 indie wrestlers and just have them out there just kind of like putting on little quick little matches.
Like a mini match per set, like
Yeah,
not even
yeah.
all the time. That would have been so cool. But also, that how would you get insurance to approve that?
Oh,
I'm gonna say like stilts are always like
I don't even know.
on the chopping block because of that reason.
We didn't have stilts in any zones at Orlando this year because of it. So,
but you know they got the stunt people there too.
They do.
I don't know. It's that's crazy talk. We're justifying crazy talk, but it would be fun. It would be fun.
How would they keep the guests away from it? And like,
no, it would be nuts. But God, it would be so good. It would be so good.
I love that area. I love whatever zone they've put there in the last couple of years. You know,
good old French Street.
And it's fun because you're exiting a house, so you're like you think you're at ease, but you're not. So then you're watching people get wrecked, and it's fun. It holds fog really well.
That's always like a place that we meet up with our tour guide, like after breaks and dinner and stuff. And so we're always standing there waiting for everyone, and so they always come up and interact. Like every year, they always come up to like the group and interact with the group while we're waiting for everyone, and so it's just fun, nice and interactive area.
Yeah, if you're doing RIP, that's kind of the scare zone by default you'll spend the most time in. Mm-hmm. And I'm not mad about it at all.
It's a really fun vibe change too, like leaving Monstros 2 and then immediately like getting into like a campy, funny atmosphere. It's so jarring, but it kind of works.
Yeah, it kind of follows the tone pretty well. Mm-hmm. It's like the dessert.
Yeah, exactly.
So we're not going to do a ranking of our scare zones. So I'm just going to ask everyone, if this is not your number one scare zone in Hollywood, please speak your piece. Okay, that's what I thought. Good to know.
I was going to disconnect you from the call.
Now, Duff, before we move on to houses, can I just give a shout out to our tour guide? Because he was so good. He was awesome. He was so informative and so fun. And we really like connected with him. And he made it really fun because, I mean, we were in the park beforehand and we didn't get to go to Mario or Nintendo Land. And he got us in and we were able to ride the Mario Kart with him, and I think he was just awesome.
His name was Sean. I looked it up. We have a selfie with him.
Yes.
I have it up for Daniel and B right now.
Well, I also have the photo of you and him hugging in Mario World. Yes. When he said we could ride the ride and you started crying.
We came out.
Oh my God. I love it.
You were emotional.
I was happy for my friends who hadn't been on it. And I paid so much money in 2023 to stand there with Jonathan, separate from Mike and Doug, because we got separated on the escalator at 6 a.m.
Oh no.
So I was so happy that my friends didn't have to have that experience, and it was included in our tour. So we come out of the bathroom and Sean's just like, we're going on Mario Kart. And I'm just like, can I hug you? Like, that was the first thing that came out of my mouth. And he said, absolutely.
Yeah, it was a very
And
nice
I was like,
trick. He's like, I just
so
want to take you
you-
to the nice restrooms. That's all. Nice restrooms.
Duff, there's a photo of he and I after the hug, and you are like half smiling in the background behind us. It's very cute, but I wish we could insert photo in the podcast. But yeah, me and Sean, we had a hug. He was great.
It was cute.
Yeah. He was seriously the best tour guide I think I've ever had, at least, and I would definitely, if he's doing it again, do it with him. And he actually like would go through a lot of the houses with us, and not a lot of them would do that previously that I've had.
Yeah,
That's fun.
His girlfriend or his wife also worked there.
She was in the weekend house.
Yeah,
Amazing.
She was one of the eyeballs. I remember that.
Yeah.
So get ready, Sean. We're requesting you next year.
Yeah, Sean W.
We love Sean.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now it is time to move on. Not yet the houses. We're going to go to the Terror Tram, which of course was Enter the Blumhouse. Yay. So
I don't know if I would say yay.
Well, you don't have to. It's okay. Instead of just saying, here's the Terror Tram, let's break this down section by section. Let's start with Megan. Anyone with memorable thoughts about the Megan section?
I liked the way it was laid out. It was a different footprint this year. And I liked that part that we kind of like used that. That's, I guess, where the Grinch Nuts used to be, or maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, it's exactly where that is.
Yeah, so I like that we use that. We actually utilize that space.
Finally, after years of waiting for that. Yeah, sorry.
No, please. Give me the West Coast knowledge. I like that we use that, and like every Megan had like their own little vignette. I thought that was cute and like a good way to showcase her.
Yeah.
Agreed. Yeah, I like that they went with the stages. Hate that they kept trying to rush you out of it, but I love the stage idea for sure. Did you guys get heckled as well?
Well, was it
the whole event?
Yeah, the whole event was like that.
Oh, sure, with the houses too, man. Like, what
my god,
the houses were brutal.
I barked at a few of the team members in some of those houses. It was kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, everyone needs to simmer down.
Well, I wish the Orlando ones would speak up a little bit more, but that's a whole other story.
Yeah, I think we're going to talk a bit more about that during the houses, probably. Unfortunately.
But yeah, Megan was fun. It was cool.
But yeah, I'm going to be honest, not much stood out. It was cool. I think Megan's a very fun, interactive character, so just having her out, it's fun. It works.
Oh, I did really love, I hope you guys got a good view of it, but like the opening moment before they let everyone loose on you, where like it's Megan dancing and then like all the Blumhouse characters come out behind her, holding chainsaws. That was pretty fun. That pumped me up every time, and I'm not even that much of a Blumhouse fan. I was just like, damn, this is cool.
I will say, not to bring it up again, but to bring it up again, because I want to promote it, because seriously, if you don't do RIP at Hollywood, do RIP at Hollywood. They make sure you see this moment.
Nice.
So it's guaranteed. And it's really cool. So let's move on to Freaky and Happy Death Day.
I don't really remember this section, and I just watched the video of it, like, to remind me, and all I remember is just like wood, and then they would pop out sometimes. just wood, just like fences, just like it was just.
Oh yeah, I just keep thinking of Larry Larva.
I'm gonna need that audio bite of
Jonathan
saying that.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, that's so good.
That's the new one for 2025 already.
It's the new Goblin. We have the Goblin replacement. There it is.
God damn it. It just like wasn't very memorable, and I think I'm trying to I think the exterminators used that space so much better, where it felt like there was so much going on, and in this Terror Tram it felt like they had to include those IPs, so they kind of just stuffed them there, and there you go.
It's also hard to walk by the Bates Motel and not think like, oh, hey, look, it's the Bates fucking motel. When you've got like a character from Freaky coming out at you, it's like, why are you here?
Mm-hmm.
At least with the the Larry Larva, it felt a little bit more like, oh, we're at a motel and there's bugs. Okay, that made a little bit more sense. But
yeah, why was Vince Vaughn at a motel?
Right, exactly.
We didn't unpack that. Like,
Oh.
you know.
I literally didn't
Well,
remember
when you put
any
it
of
that way.
this until you mentioned the Bates Motel. And then I was like, oh,
B had a realization here, and we're like, yeah.
no idea. I was sitting here so hard trying to remember it.
Well, there you have it.
What was in the war? That was the War of the. What was in the War of the Worlds? The Purge.
Purge, yeah.
Mhm.
Purge.
Oh my god! When I tell
Yeah.
you, I was thinking of the Exterminators from the beginning, and then the Halloween one. I was like, Black Cat Alley. What was that? This made no impression on me.
That
obviously,
was a
this
better
year
use of the
period.
space. That's what it was.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was much. Was it shorter than it's been before? It just felt shorter.
Nah, I mean they took out the portion from Nope, but that's about it.
Not for
Probably,
us.
well, yeah, for us peasants,
Mm.
for us lowly folks, they take it out. But you guys got to keep it this year, punks.
Yeah, I'm kind of on board with what everyone else is saying. I kind of forgot what this was until I watched a video about the event yesterday. So, and I still barely remember it. I watched it yesterday. I barely remember it. But yeah, it makes no sense with where it was, why they were there. No. Was
I'm
it?
kind of back to it being like, okay, it's time for you to go.
Yeah.
Like you've had a good run back. Let's just call it quits.
Oh, but we have so much more fun to talk about before we get to that part, John. Let's move on to. Oh, this might have been the best part, in my opinion. No, okay, maybe not. Yeah, we'll see. The Black Phone.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that was in here.
It was.
I didn't watch a video of this. I really did not. Okay.
With the
he was-
grabber.
The phone does not work.
You guys, I could barely get my house list together.
Yeah, straws in this house.
I just remember where we took photos.
Then that
Right?
was just
Yeah.
for RIP.
But I'm saying that's all I can remember about it. I can't remember the actual
Same,
mechanics.
B,
Like,
same.
It was like because we had our own little interactions with each of the characters,
Yeah.
not to be those people, but
No,
that's my
that
favorite.
definitely made it. Yeah, that definitely made it so much better than it was, I think, personally.
yeah.
Because I remember those moments.
Mhm.
Well, the Black Phone was there apparently. Someone who remembers it can talk about it.
And then insert Blumhouse movie.
The
It
phone
it
doesn't work.
there. Right.
I mean, I think it's mainly just the characters and not being in a place that's completely out of place for them. That's about it. Because I think for me, everything else is not great for this Terror Tram, and this was fine.
Sure.
I know that sounds mean, but that's kind of where I'm at with Terror Tram right now.
Fair. Very fair.
I get it.
Very,
Oh.
very, very fair. So.
I have a positive thing to say about the Terror Tram. I really liked the bloody Hollywood sign with the Blumhouse character mannequin.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
that
good
was
addition.
fun.
Oh yeah, that
That's
was
cool.
fun.
They did it for the holidays
You
too.
can take a picture with it.
Oh.
You could,
Mhm.
yeah. At first they weren't going to let you, but then they realized that people are going to stop no matter what you tell them
Oh,
to take a fucking picture in front of the Hollywood sign that you paid money for.
when did they stop that? Because we went in early October and they were still yelling at us.
Well, they were just yelling at us stuff.
Yeah,
We had a
yeah.
sign
No,
that said, "Please yell at me."
Oh, yeah.
I had something because I was getting screamed at
Mm-hmm.
everywhere. Here, especially.
yeah. But no, they made a little like section for the photos. Like if you
Oh.
wanted the photo, you went to the left, or if you wanted to keep going, you stuck to the right. But that was as a result of them like truly not being able to stop people from like stopping and taking a photo of that Hollywood sign. It looked cool.
As
I mean, come on.
Shouldn't be able to
Right.
stop people from doing that,
Right.
to be fair.
Yeah, very true.
All right, let's keep moving quickly. How about The Purge?
I think this was the best section of the tram. Just
Yeah.
because it fits really well. I mean, they've done it before, and
Yeah.
just putting Purge in this atmosphere of the World sets just is kind of perfect. I'm not going to say I particularly loved it, but it's just a vibe that really meshes, and it's sort of like you're in the World sets, but the Purge like actually is the one thing that kind of immersed me a little bit and being like, oh, okay, there's a Purge happening in this place that's all like destroyed. That makes sense. And it was the only IP that didn't feel super forced for me in this. in this tram.
Yeah, I think
Very fair.
that setting alone is just amazing to walk through, especially at night during horror nights with the additional lighting. Um, if I hadn't done it so many times already, I think it would automatically be the top no matter what. But I'm just kind of used to it now, I'd say.
I totally get that.
But it was fine overall. I thought it worked in that space. It was fine. But I've also seen The Purge in that exact space before, so yeah. Anyone else with thoughts about The Purge?
Riveting.
No.
No.
All right. In that case, we'll move on to Wolfman. No.
Oh man.
The Blumhouse part of Blumhouse.
What?
Yeah, it was just Blumhouse.
The finale,
Yeah,
the grand finale
Was it
that
Blumhouse?
was
That,
supposed to be
house thing?
Wolfman.
All set in the barn.
Oh.
It was Wolfman
It
for
was
like
really,
a day.
obviously this memory is really distinct for me.
The Terror Tram was B's favorite thing they did that night. Lasting impact. I got a Terror Tram tattoo the next day in California.
Could you imagine?
I did actually really enjoy this little finale that they added to it. I think it's kind of a clever use of the space, and it kind of gives it a little bit of excitement before you head out. But yeah, it's too bad that we couldn't see the Wolfman iteration of it, and that it became like literally Blumhouse's greatest hits.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little disappointing.
It was so funny that like all the Blumhouse characters just decided to get in this barn or whatever with all this hay hanging around, and just that's where they decided to do their final kill.
They were having a kill party, dude.
Yeah, it's exactly right there. Perfect place for it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's finish this up. Let's talk about the RIP experiences involved in the Terror Tram, which was kind of alluded to earlier as a couple's favorite part. So, if it was your favorite part, go ahead. Let me know. What'd you like about it?
I like that they had the different sections, and they let everyone take as much pictures as they want. It was nice that there wasn't really anyone behind us, so we could kind of take as much time as we wanted. And then once everyone was done with their pictures for that room, they did a little scene to kind of get you onto the next section. And yeah, I thought it was a good use of an experience, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I liked it. It could have been like one room shorter. I did not need the purge. Like that whole lineup photo was weird, but the other interactions were really fun, I think.
Yeah. And just to clarify, if anyone didn't know, basically what we're discussing now is there's basically at the end of every section a photo op of what that was. So Megan, Black Phone, Purge. There was like a specific separate, like a little show moment, photo op, show moment, move on.
Mm-hmm. I really did like the the grabber. I thought he was really funny. I definitely chuckled a lot with him. Yeah.
Yeah,
He was good.
The grabber was he was definitely giving the same vibes from 2023.
Yes.
That was the RIP exclusive for that. Well, part of it.
It was basically the same thing, just now in more like a little secluded room.
You were like
I
outside in
guess.
the parking lot before you got on your tram.
Mhm.
Yeah, I liked it. It was fun, but this did not justify like keeping the tram around for me. I'm okay with it going off into HHN heaven for a little bit.
Well,
Or forever.
we also did go into the Nope sets, which only RIP did this year.
That was pretty cool.
Boo.
Yeah,
Boo.
I always enjoy going through the Nope set. That's always my favorite part. The
I
last
liked
time
it.
I
I
went
thought
to
it
Did
was
they
fun.
have a lot of people there? How many people did they have there for you
One?
guys?
Two.
Two?
We had two.
You guys had two?
We had two.
Two in
I
the
have a
red
hot take.
jumpsuit? Just two?
One in the red jumpsuit. One
Yeah.
that was supposed to be like a team member.
camp counselor or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Something like
And
that.
that's it?
Correct.
That is criminal.
And
That is
So,
unjust.
And
I
some
have a
people
hot
had
take about
less.
this.
by the way.
Oh my
Mhm.
god. What is even the point? What is even the point?
To be honest, I wasn't even paying attention to that part. I was just looking around at everything else.
Right.
I
Yeah,
That
I
was
like,
such a cool way to finish the Terror Tram path of randomness. Damn, man. Injustice.
I will say
Injustice.
the positive, John, is that we didn't get rushed through at all.
Yes.
Great.
Yeah. We had the whole show moment to ourselves.
Yes.
Good Lord.
Okay, so for me, someone who's been through the Nope sets now for 3 years, I know like being Daniel, it was brand new, so nothing negative to say. The first year we went, 2022, that was really impressive what they did with like
Yeah.
Bandit and like the whole lineup of people.
Oh yeah.
Completely
That
agree.
compared to this, like this was nothing. And when you're saying
No.
it's like an RIP, I'm gonna sound like I'm just like complaining now. But like when you say it's like an RIP show moment, like all you did was hit play on the sound effects that you do for the daytime tram and added one person or two people depending on what tour group you were in, apparently. So
Oh god, man. That's criminal. That is absolutely criminal.
I'd rather just drive through it and them do the audio like they do on the daytime tram.
I was gonna say I still do like walking through it. That is the part I like the best. I get to
Yeah.
walk through that set.
Yeah. I'm just gonna complain about it.
No, please. That's the point of the show.
I ran through the set because our guide Patrick who was phenomenal. He was so good. I had a great experience, RIP experience with him. He really made the night for us. But we started walking over there, the Nope sets, and I kind of saw him like on his phone a little bit, and I'm like, oh shit, something went wrong. Something happened. Because that's what they know, like, you know, what's going on in the park or whatnot. And so the us character pops out, and the tethered, and just one of them, and they start sort of looking around, walking towards us, and I'm sitting there going like, what's going on? There's supposed to be like so many more people here. What's happening? I was expecting like what you guys were sort of describing the first time, where like maybe they all gang up on us or something. I was like, oh, you know, what's gonna happen? But instead he went to us. He went to my family. He was like, can I take your phone? And we're like, yeah, sure, you know. And he lifted it up, and he faced it towards him, and he was in the front of us, so like he had the camera facing the whole entire RIP tour group, and he's like, I think we should run, and started sprinting down Jupiter's Claim. So we all like followed him, you know. And so we just all like ran through that set, and it was such he made that honestly pretty you know I mean, bad experience, like, you know, like you only have one, like what are you going to do? It's, you know, or whatever. And he made it something really memorable. Like I will always remember that moment. So that Patrick tour guide was absolutely fantastic. But I am upset that this is what we got for Nope for the RIP tour. I at this point, if this is what we're going to get, just 2 actors or 1 actor, I think it's time to cut it. I think this is it.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
And it's sad that it went from 2023, which I think, to be completely honest, my favorite iteration that I've experienced since 2018. It is better than it is my favorite, and I've been going since 2018. Is how I should put that.
Fair. Yeah.
To immediately back to like, damn, get rid of it again. It's sad. It's real sad.
And I will miss it if they do get rid of it, just because the fact that we get like our little, like if you're in the RIP tour, you get your own little like bus, and they take you around and show you like different like horror movie sets and stuff in the back lot. And then at the end we drive by queues and sing ABBA Dancing Queen at them, so they get confused. That's always fun.
So, of course, I would miss it in the sense also that it is, as an Orlando local, it is the most unique experience you're going to get in Hollywood, right? So I want to ask the first timers to Hollywood, what'd you think about the Terror Tram overall?
I feel like my opinion is fairly terrible on it. I remember the sets and I don't remember anything else. Like I was excited to see like the War of the World set and all of that. So I remember nothing about this specific Terror Tram though.
Fair. Understandable.
Very fair.
Yeah.
I think that it's cool that they do a holiday overlay of something that they offer during the daytime. So, which is something that California just seems to have of Orlando in general. So that's just like a cool aspect. Definitely something that would not happen in Orlando. So for that alone, I'd say it's pretty cool. But as far as it being a memorable part of my night, clearly it was not. I do remember getting yelled at by Norman Bates for stepping on one of the steps.
Yes, I did.
I do remember that part too.
He traumatized me when he yelled. I was like, ah!
What did he yell? What did he say?
Like, get off the step. I was,
Oh.
I was like, ooh, okay.
Scary Norman.
I really wish you guys would have got to see Larry Larva instead of that, but it is what it is.
Lawrence.
Yeah.
I miss him.
Lawrence.
I hope he's doing okay. Hopefully we'll see him again.
Yeah,
Not in the
I
tram.
love bugs.
Well, it was so different. Like it wasn't the
There weren't just
you
bugs
liked it.
everywhere at all.
No.
Your face is so convincing.
You would have liked the baby bug in the stroller.
What?
Okay.
That gives very
love
Men in Black.
They also were like okay, we're not here to talk about this. Let's move on to the houses.
It is time. Let's do it. So we're actually going to split this up into kind of two parts. We're going to talk about our shared houses between Hollywood and Orlando first, and then we'll move on to the Hollywood exclusives. So let's get into these that we also saw in Orlando, starting with A Quiet Place.
Shh.
Yeah, exactly. Anyone want to come out with their thoughts?
I think I liked Orlando's best.
Hey, I didn't ask that yet. That's coming later.
Oh, sorry.
That is a thought, to be fair.
Yeah, you asked for my opinion.
Don't tell me which one's better yet. We'll ask later.
Okay, scratch that.
No, nobody. Thoughts?
I can see
I
some.
mean,
And we all want to talk.
I liked Orlando's better, maybe slightly.
I think you're not doing that yet. I'm
I
confused.
don't know.
It was there. She showed up. She's at the party.
Duff, I don't know what you want from us.
Like when I just rewatched it, even I was like, "Boy, this is
Oh, I
an
actually,
experience."
you reminded me of something, B.
Oh,
I was watching it, and the only thing I could keep thinking was, did our puppets have such big cables coming out of the top of their heads?
If they
Oh,
did, you couldn't
no.
see them.
Theirs were so bad. Like, just...
Yes,
I think
the
y'all
sidelines
did
were
have
bad.
cables,
Did we?
except that you
Okay.
guys had them covered. It wasn't just like a big black box of
Open.
nothingness.
Open
Yeah,
and
exactly.
vulnerable. Just very... That's... What were they called? What are the thingies called there? Death Angels.
Angels.
Death Angels.
Open and vulnerable Death Angels. That is how I would describe Hollywood.
It's so weird because we share them. Like they said, Hollywood made all of our creatures, or like at least the majority of them. And while like I do think their animatronics that they had were better, of the Death Angels, like I think some of those were really impressive. The actual puppets, the ones that we use the most in Orlando, and they have the most scares with. You guys are right. They don't hide them at all, and I think that's my main gripe with this house, besides it being the property A Quiet Place, which I just don't think works in general. It's just all the scares with them took you immediately out of it, even though I'd say the sets are pretty decent, for Hollywood, and we're kind of immersive, and I was sort of getting into it until one of them would pop out and you just see the black curtain behind him and you'd be like, yeah, no, I'm out of it. This is gonna be the whole house. And it was the whole house. So yeah, Quiet Place.
It's quite literally the perfect example of the Orlando approach versus the Hollywood approach, because like just the way that the Death Eater or the Death Angels were,
Death Eaters.
the Death Eaters, Harry, just the way that they were covered up differently, it speaks volumes to the difference between the coasts. But that being said, I thought the IP worked really well at Horror Nights, and I'm glad that they went for it. And I do gotta say, I still have a gripe with the ending of the Orlando version. The ending never really hit. It never timed out correctly for myself or my group when we would go through. So that was kind of weird. But still, Fun houses.
At least
I
we had
enjoyed
an
both.
ending.
I mean, sure, yeah.
I remember
Yeah, I didn't know
Hollywood's.
it.
It just was like a black. Like you had the, the kid, the boy was holding the radio and it was making the sound, and then it was just a black wall room where it's like, then it started playing somewhere beyond the scene. It's like, wait, what? And then it's like the house is over, and it's like, what happened? What we missed a crucial part of the movie. John Murray's like, nah, we're not doing that. I don't have room. Sorry.
Sorry, kid, ran out of walls.
Well, Jonathan, would you want him to attempt the boat scene like we did?
I mean,
It would be so small.
Yeah,
It would
little
be so
baby
small.
scene, and like, okay, I will say, not that I could tell you what additions they did to the space. I like how they used that space. It didn't feel like a horror hotel, whatever kind. It felt utilized, like better utilized this year at least. I'll give them that.
Mm-hmm.
They had a whole facade in there. Like they fixed
Yeah.
some stuff.
That
in
impressed me, man. That kind of blew me away, I gotta say.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great use of that space. That's the way to use that space, baby.
Yes, I am much more excited about the space moving forward after this house. I'll say that much.
Yeah.
However, I did hear a lot about this house on the positive side before I went to the event, so I was pretty excited to see the differences. Because, as you know, if you listen to the show, I'm not a huge fan of Orlando's A Quiet Place. Also, wasn't a huge fan of this A Quiet Place. It felt very dull in the setting. I think they created the setting fine, but it was just very monotonous and samey.
Sure.
I don't think any scares were really executed too well. Storytelling was pretty minimal. It just didn't really hit any beats I'm looking for in a house at all, to be completely honest. Like, it just really wasn't my thing at all.
Fair.
I will say we have been saying a lot of negatives on this house. I do want to point out two things that I do think I can understand why people might like this house better. And I did really appreciate these things. The first is I think the actors got a lot more freedom to like interact with you a little bit, interact with each other. It felt like there was more of a conversation going on, and just you really felt like you were in the films when you saw them talking. They were talking to you, they were talking to each other. It wasn't just a trigger and they come out and come back in most of the time. They were a lot of the time just in the scene like the entire time and always acting and talking with sign language, and it was really, really cool. And also I remember in like the press release for this, they were talking about how, in Orlando's and Hollywood's, they would have like sound, and you would hear sound from like different areas and whatever. And I never 100% got that in Orlando's version, but that first couple scenes with the trees in Hollywood, I was like, oh, this is what they were talking about. Because you could hear the sound like from your left, from your right. You can hear them going around, like the creatures like circling around you, the way that the sound system was set up in the room. That sound was fucking cool. I gotta have them props for that, because I think they did a really good job with the sound design, at least for those first couple rooms.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. Hell yeah.
And to add on to your point, I think that they made a big deal about using ASL inside the houses, and that was a lot more apparent in Hollywood than it was in Orlando. So I appreciate that they kind of really did dive into that in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
All right, anything else about A Quiet Place, or are we good to move on? All right, in that case, we're going to go into one that was well loved in Orlando. Let's see what we thought about it in Hollywood. Insidious: The Further.
I felt theirs was much different than ours was, at least in the beginning.
Yes.
Mary, I'm glad you went before me, because you said it much nicer than I did.
Yeah. Did I like it?
That wasn't a no.
I'm gonna need that a soundbite of Mary too, please. I like that Insidious review. Did I like it?
But yeah, at the beginning, like, it was just very. I didn't understand it at the beginning. Like, I didn't understand what was happening, and you wouldn't understand what was happening if you didn't see the movies. But I saw the movies, and I still didn't understand them.
Yeah.
So
My review was like, I specifically wrote down Hollywood scary, but not Orlando Insidious scary. That was my review of it, because there's definitely a recording of the house where halfway through I go nope, and I stop recording. I could not do it anymore. But like it was a house. It was a book report house for me. Like it was a Hollywood book report house. And that's not derogatory or complimentary.
Yes.
That's a statement.
That is a statement of fact.
That is my fact. Me, Jess. That's how I feel about Insidious. Me, Jess.
I will say to that fact that I do think their opening was not book report, and I appreciated that they tried something different.
Agreed.
I love the
Agreed.
opening.
Did
I
it
appreciate the approach.
necessarily work?
Right.
That's kind of the issue there.
Mhm.
You had to think about it a little bit to like really take it in, and I think in a maze like that, that's a hard thing to ask from,
Yes.
from
Yeah.
folks.
I think Insidious is more property where you just fucking get into it and you have fucking
Yeah,
fun
man,
with what the property
right.
is.
Yeah.
So I appreciate if you take a swing and you miss. You took a swing. Thank you for trying it.
Mhm.
Unfortunately,
Unfortunately,
there was kind of a miss.
yeah.
I do think honestly after that the rest of the house it's fine. Like I didn't expect to love Orlando's. It just happened to really work for me. This one it was kind of more what I expected Insidious to be on both coasts, to be honest. So, I don't hate it. It did what Insidious should do, just not more than that.
I will say, gang, you wouldn't, I don't think, notice this, but a lot of the Hollywood Insidious was kind of like repeat gags from years before, almost to a T, almost like the exact layouts of the rooms, the exact same gag.
Wow.
So it's all stuff that we, at least in Hollywood, have all seen in the years prior. There wasn't really anything super original outside of the opening, which again I applaud them for going for that. But yeah, the rest of it was kind of like, oh, we've been in this room before. She's gonna come out of here. Oh, we've seen this set piece. They're gonna come out of here.
Mhm.
With that being said, though, the 2 elevator scares did rock me. So kudos to them.
That's funny because we were talking about in spec season, Murdy was given paragraphs of, just talking about every house and he was working on how excited he was for everyone and giving little details. And then for Insidious, he's like, I really like the franchise. Excited to see it this year. And that's like all he said the entire season about Insidious. And the fact
Sick,
that I
dude.
guess most of it's repeated or like repeated gags kind of makes sense while he
that
just was
shows.
like,
That's how the house feels.
yeah.
That's
Yeah, expectations were so high coming from Orlando.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, the Orlando one's a fucking masterpiece, though. I mean,
Yeah.
that's literally like you
I-
could teach a class on
The first
that
time I went to the
house
house, I left
alone.
shaking,
Yeah.
and that never happens.
I never
The
got
Orlando
comfy.
one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I went like pre-opening night, so wild.
Yeah, my first run through that was pretty memorable too. I think Jonathan was in front of us, and at one point, I'm literally like, we're going into the hospital scene, and like the violin starts hitting, and I literally say out loud, I'm like, this is a nightmare, because like it just felt like it just kept going and going and going. But damn, it was good.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think I didn't get to walk in front of my group until the end of the season because I was too scared to.
I will also add though, Hollywood did still have the scares. I won't say it was as intense, but
Yeah,
the scares were
yeah.
definitely there, as
For
Jess
sure.
alluded to earlier by having to literally stop recording midway through.
Yeah, no, we're never gonna post that, but it exists.
Or will I?
Oh, come on. I
Or
think it
will I?
needs to be posted.
No.
The last
No.
TikTok video before TikTok's gone.
Oh my
The world's got to see it, man. Go out with a bang.
No, the world needs to see me dancing in front of The Weeknd, I think, first.
Oh
actually.
yeah.
Yes.
Oh
That
yeah.
whole video. Oof.
For all those, shout out to the red lipstick demons in that house. All of them were always bringing their A game. I got so many cool shots of them for going through those houses. Great shit. Good job. Everybody in that house, honestly, really brought it,
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
they did well with what they were given.
Yeah, the scare actors are great.
All right. So with that, let's move on to our next house. That's going to be Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodlines. Well, I got to go into Soundstage 12. So that was great.
Did you feel the history?
I felt
Did you
the
feel
history, and then I
Did you touch
walked
the
into the
history?
house.
And all the history washed out.
That's yeah. This house, okay, on both coasts it was very disappointing. So I'd like to point that out right there. It's not a Hollywood specific issue here.
Unfortunately.
Eternal Bloodlines, both coasts, massive letdowns for me. This was the most kind of like stereotypical Hollywood house, if you will. The fucking black walls, blank transitions, just kind of like no boo holes and just characters jumping out of like large spaces. Like it's the Hollywood house that people make fun of for the tropes of Hollywood, and obviously that's not a good thing at all. And just in general, the story fell flat. Orlando and Hollywood did very different things with the story, kind of, and both of them fell flat. Yeah, I don't have much nice to say about this one. I think kind of their like gothic settings were too generic and consistent throughout. Like it was just kind of the same shit over and over. Yeah, I really wish I had more to say about it, but that's kind of where I'm at with this one.
Yeah. I will say one positive, they actually showed Saskia dying.
Good point.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Big moment.
That helped
Yeah.
the story a little bit better, I guess.
We had the death scene DLC. You guys didn't get it.
If you caught it.
No.
Yeah, it was
Seriously, because you never. I did not catch it until like my fourth run of in Orlando, and I was like, everyone's telling me that she died, and I'm like, I don't see it.
Somebody had to tell me, and then literally turn me around and go, "See." So I like that they did that, but yeah, it just felt like not even that they took the sets from the last couple Monsters houses, because those didn't really have a lot of sets either. They just took some foam and said, "Here's some brickwork, here's a castle." But I felt that way on both coasts. It was just very meh.
I don't know.
I love lesbians.
Positive. It was a little gayer than ours.
So that's my take.
They
were fun.
This could make such a great undead love story, like moving forward. Like
Oh
let's
my
lean
God.
into it.
The tension was strong.
Oh yeah, man. It was there. It was palpable. It was palpable.
I'll say. I noticed I clocked that first run through. I was like, wow, that is very clear.
A gothic romance.
Oh,
in
yeah.
the makings for sure. You know what? Let's write the comic book. Let's do it.
Someone get to work on it. I'll co-sign immediately.
Yeah, we'll crowdfund it. We'll throw all the money we've got at it.
I will say, even though I still don't think the story's super great, I still think I like it better than Orlando's, and I think that's what makes it.
Oh,
because the bride actually is doing shit. This house,
Damn it, Jonathan, that's not time.
Oh yeah, it's not time. But it's really, I have to the story. I like story. I have to sort of kind of get into it with this, just on story alone. Not saying entire house.
Yeah.
But like the bride is actually doing shit. Like she's killing, she's like every scene she's being a badass and shooting and killing, and even when Saskia dies, she's over her corpse, and the Dracula's daughter comes in and be like, all right, I'm gonna kill you too. And in our house, she's kind of just crying, and in this house, she holds up a cross like, get the fuck away, bitch, and she pushes her away. Like, that was my favorite part of this house, seeing the bride and Saskia. Like, you see the moment where they learn that, oh, we're teammates. We never see that in Orlando. We just kind of assume, you see the death, you see bride's reaction to the death. I just think they got those beats done better. And so overall, I like the story more. I'm not going to say it still was a great story. I don't think either coast really had a great story. But from what they had to work with this, with the story they had, I think Hollywood executed it better. But But that's the only thing I would kind of say Hollywood did better, because the sets were not really I mean, they weren't as good. The pacing was not great, especially those transitions that, oh my God, took forever. The ending was weird. As much as I like seeing Frankenstein, I was like, why are you here? It's cool. But there you are. So yeah, there were a lot of problems. I wouldn't say this is very high on my list, but seeing the story actually kind of make sense and work a little bit made me happy, and that's my main memory from this house.
Well, something positive was said.
Yeah.
I'm glad you were happy.
I'm also running a theory that was a tent house that ended up just kind of defaulting to Soundstage 12 because it was what was available.
Yeah.
And so, because the layout was kind of funky, man. It was a lot of big squares and rectangles, so it felt like a tent house. It didn't feel like a soundstage house.
You reminded me to bring up the point that you walk into Soundstage 12. It's a soundstage. It's huge.
Yeah.
They had it fully open too. Like, it's not like if you're an Orlando local and you're listening to this, we kind of walk through our doors, right? No.
Yeah, we had our elephant door
fucking
open.
whole thing open.
Yeah.
And you just see this little rinky-dink maze in the middle of a massive soundstage. And you're like, why? Because they don't do that with the other ones. This is the only time I've seen that in Hollywood since I've been going to that level, at least. And it was, it doesn't get you excited to go into the house. I'll say that much.
I literally walked in and was like, oh, this is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So any last minute thoughts on Eternal Bloodlines after that? Didn't think so. Great. Let's move on. So for our final chair house between both coasts, we have Ghostbusters, Frozen, Empire. I kind of want to kick it off with the exciting part. Jonathan and Jess, you really adored this house in Orlando.
And
Yes.
B.
And B.
They're going to get
I
really
was gonna say, I
offended.
really
Sorry.
loved Orlando.
My bad. Then you went to Hollywood. How'd you feel about Hollywood's?
They had a rat.
They did
I
have
really-
a Stay Puft riding a rat.
And I loved him. That was
Important.
Even when I just rewatched the walkthrough, I was like, it's worth it for him.
I felt the same way.
Disappointing for me as someone coming from Orlando, because I really do like Orlando's. I think ours is more fun, also scarier in the same way.
Yeah.
Also, I don't leave soaked because of that. And I had like PTSD from it when we came back to Orlando.
We would run past Slimer, and then B finally goes, it's because the Slimer in Hollywood. And I was like, oh,
man.
wow. It really fucked with us after that.
That Slimer be sliming.
Yeah.
Too much, man.
I agree with B, though. It was a little disappointing, but still good for like a Hollywood IP. I liked it, but it wasn't my favorite IP of the year in Hollywood.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I think it was still like I still really enjoyed it. It was not as good as Orlando's at all, but I think the bones of the house for both coasts were like so. I think that they're so solid and they have really good moments. And even though Hollywood didn't execute all those moments perfectly like Orlando did, the bones are still there. It's still a good house, and I think that's what I'll say on it. I did still really enjoy it. I did not. I was kind of expecting not to like it a little bit after hearing that it wasn't as good as Orlando's, but no, I still enjoyed it.
That's good to hear. I like that. It's funny because like this is one of those houses where more and more every year I'm noticing that some of them are like truly working right off of the same treatment, like room for room. It's very similar to what they do on either coast. Ghostbusters is definitely one of those. But how'd you guys feel turning the corner and seeing our little firehouse in our tent, man?
So tiny.
So cute, huh?
With the Disneyland
Different.
castle.
Cute.
Three
So
apples.
true.
Three apples.
Oh.
I
We are
forgot
not
about
going to
the
explain.
apple.
Not going to happen. Sorry.
Well, B and Daniel are doing the apple dance right now for Mary. So.
Oh my gosh, I
Everything's
love
in
it.
California just tiny. It's just little over there.
I think, and that's kind of for me, that's the biggest thing about this house. It kind of hits all the same beats.
Yeah.
However, everything's kind of scaled down for the most part. I liked
yeah.
Slimer a lot. Outside of that, everything felt very scaled down.
It was probably the
Yeah.
only better part of Hollywood's was the Slimer scene.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any thoughts about Ghostbusters Frozen Empire before we talk about the big question that everyone's already kind of ruined?
Sorry.
It's everyone, don't worry, not just you.
No, we have nothing.
Okay, great.
Lar.
Out of these shared houses, are there any of these, as Orlando locals, and John, an Orlando fan, that you liked better than Orlando's?
No.
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 No across the board.
Yeah, I was thinking
It's
I was
a
gonna.
boot for me.
Very fair. Very fair.
Also no, by the way.
Yeah.
John.
Yeah. No.
Okay. I thought
I'm glad to hear.
I thought you liked Hollywood's A Quiet Place better. No?
No.
Oh, no? Oh, okay.
I said that A Quiet Place was really good,
Okay.
especially like as a Hollywood house.
Sorry.
Like it's a
It was
a
good
higher
for
tier.
Hollywood.
yeah, it's a higher tier Hollywood house.
Misinterpreted. My fault.
Yeah. No.
No. So yeah, that question was really included because some of you really hate us for knocking Hollywood. So I just had to, well, actually, Jonathan had to throw that in there, and I had to really harp on it. So there you go. You're welcome. We do love Hollywood. It's okay, I promise. So let's move on to the exclusives, where my favorite houses are in here. So yeah, here we go. Let's start out with Monstros 2, The Nightmares of Latin America. Anyone? Actually, I know there's someone who really liked it. So that person can start if they'd like.
Who was
Jess, that's you.
I'm sorry, I was not listening.
Monstros 2, Jess.
Oh, I liked it. Yeah, that is me, the one who liked it. I did not like it more than not last year. Well, 2023. I liked that one more. I just liked the utilization of the characters better. I think I also just like those characters better. I would not be mad if Hollywood just maybe took a break from Monstros or focused on one monster next year.
Yes.
Like how La Llorona was just one, and I know that was a repeat house, but it was good. I liked it. I'm always gonna like something like that like lives in like the folklore kind of genre, especially when it's like specific to like the culture of where the event's taking place. So that's always gonna hit for me, and that's why Monstros is always gonna be kind of more up there for me. Mm-hmm. But I definitely liked 2023 is better.
Agreed. I will say it suffered from 2023's main issue, or two main issues, honestly, which was kind of separating and differentiating, and then also pacing, and it just kind of got worse in that aspect. It was kind of to the point where I just wanted, after I went through El Charo's section, I just wanted a full house about him. Mm-hmm. That's it. Because I got to Gadejo, I got to Kukui. Kukui wasn't a bad section, but I was like, yeah, but I'm still thinking back to the beginning. So, yeah, maybe just give us a more specific house at least if you're going to keep trying to do similar things. Because I'm just a little bored of it. That's all.
I will say that El Kukui head got me every single time.
It is quite terrifying.
It is so scary.
It's scary, yeah.
And those dogs too. Those dogs.
Those dogs.
Those dogs. My dogs were screaming.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Jess. I think it's time to retire this as a theme for a while. It's getting kind of tired.
Yeah.
TBH. The house itself was also kind of an exact repeat of what happened in 2023. So like, wow,
Yep.
didn't really break the mold with this one either. So yeah, I think it's time to give that a rest.
Yeah.
Maybe give us another Hollywood, or I'm sorry, another Orlando one.
That will sort of be like an Orlando house, but not really.
Nah.
I'm kind of on the same wavelength as you, Duff. El Charo really stood out to me and was such a cool concept, and I think they executed it really well. But the minute it ended and we got into the El Cadejo section, I think that section was bad. Like it was just the same puppet on all the way to your left or all the way to your right, just doing nothing. Like just sort of moving a little bit out and going back in, and that was like 3 hallways of that. And it was like every time I entered that section, I'm like, I'm done with this house. Like I came for the El Charo, and then everything else is like the minute I entered that section, I'm like, no. Like El Kukui section's good. It's kind of, especially when you get to the sack part, it just feels super similar to what we had before. That's what it is, you know.
Too many
but
sacks.
We love a good sack.
Yeah, I think they did not have the tech for El Cadejo, at least what they wanted to do, and I just think they maybe should have waited to do something else, or when they had more budget to give it like better animatronics or puppets, because I just don't think what they tried there worked, and I think that kind of really messed up the house for me. It's still good, but that middle section just drags, and it made me kind of not want to go in it after a while.
Fair.
Anything else on Monstruos Dos? All right. In that case, we're going to move on to another original with Dead Exposure. Death Valley shares no relation to Dead Exposure or Dead Exposure Patient Zero from Orlando, by the way.
No, there's an outbreak. Same thing, dude.
Yeah,
See?
sure. Same thing. Right.
Same thing.
Right.
They're kind of zombies, kind of.
I really enjoyed this one. I thought it was I thought the scares were really good, like the jump outs and everything. And I mean, you can't forget about our zombie.
Oh, Hazarambe.
Hazarambe, our zombie.
I was like, Mary, who's your zombie? What? Hazarambe. We actually got to see him.
Yeah.
That was
Hey.
Yes. I was very nervous
You were
about not
blessed.
being able to.
I really enjoyed this house. I thought
I
it was
think
fun.
hear it. I like it.
It like, especially compared to like everything else that was available, I was like, oh yeah, this is like the one for me.
I always felt like it was a good time when I came out. Like I was enjoying my time.
Mm-hmm.
I did not always feel that leaving all the houses.
Yeah.
Like I was smiling.
Around
Cannot
Duff?
say that. Can't say that for all the others.
Correct.
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed this one a lot. It
Nice.
kind of had,
Nice.
I don't want this to be taken the wrong way, but it had that like kind of Party City feel of like Pandora's
Yes,
Box,
I 100% agree with that.
which normally, if Orlando ever tried anything like that, and they kind of have in the past a couple times, fuck that. Hate it. Murdy knows how to make it work, clearly, because this is 2 out of 2 for me on that
In
scale.
certain-
That spectrum,
in
that,
certain situations, yes, I will agree.
that Party City house in Hollywood really works.
Yeah, man.
Obviously a lot more fleshed out than like Pandora's Box in like sets, and I think the colors were great, and character design. It was just like one of those houses you walk through like, fuck, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah, very, very, very campy.
Mhm.
Which
Again, nothing to do
I
with Dead
feel-
Exposure.
But it's patient zero, isn't it? About like the never mind. So that's fine. I was gonna say, I feel like though for me at least it was like the most memorable in terms of like concept. Like it just felt different than other stuff I had seen. So I think that adds to part of why it felt fun
Mhm.
in
Felt
some of the
complete.
ways. Yeah.
It's fun, scary, like you guys said, very memorable. I like love the little animatronics in here. Whenever you saw the gorilla, like that really like made the house. It was such a cool scene. I enjoyed everything about it. I have a lot of nitpicks, but overall, I think it was just a really fun house and a great turn your brain off house and just enjoy and get scared. So this was definitely high on my list. I really, really liked it.
And let me shout out the facade as well, because it's one of those facades where like you are really walking into the environment. Like there is depth to the facade itself. It is actually bringing you into that world rather than just being a facade. So I really appreciate that. So thank you, Dead Exposure.
Yeah, they really popped off with that one, man. They really
They
did.
did.
And it was fun during speculation season 2, going down and looking at it and being like, what the hell is that? Like,
What's the hole for? That's what I remember.
right? Yeah, like what is going on here?
It was cool that looking at it during spec, like you're like, where do we walk in? Like,
Yeah.
where's the entry?
Mhm.
Is this the exit? I don't fucking know.
Right.
So yeah,
No, that was pretty
It
cool.
was very cool. So I'm gonna ask the question that I've already answered, by the way. Was this Dead Exposure?
No.
No. Because the whole point, and I'm not saying that because Hollywood did it. The whole point of Dead Exposure is the light flashing, like kind of, at its
yeah,
core.
it was a huge part in both for sure.
This is not that. This is just we took the name and we made a zombie house, and that's not taking away from it, but it is not a continuation or an interpretation of that franchise for me.
I agree with that.
But to me, he doesn't have to be if he doesn't want to be. He can be his own person.
Okay, I like
Listen, this is John Murdy's Dead Exposure.
Oh.
Yeah,
I'd rather.
That's what it says on the book. That's what it's gonna say on the maze.
So the thing is, like, let it stand on its own. It was a really good house. Why try to attach it to anything else? What was the point? I don't understand. Like, did they think the name Dead Exposure would be a draw to people in Hollywood? Because I don't think it was. Why?
No.
For fun, I guess.
Honestly, for you guys, really.
Yeah, well, we don't
for
like
the
it.
Orlando fans.
All
I
right.
think. Well, damn.
We like the house. I don't like the name.
Yeah.
Just call it Death
Could have
Valley.
been Toxic Tunnel.
Toxic Tunnel, yeah.
Toxic Warehouse.
All right, I guess we can move on now.
Yeah.
All right, Jonathan, have fun.
Yeah, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the Legacy of Leatherface. This house is fucking fantastic. This is the one that Murdy was hyping up all season, and he usually doesn't say what his favorite house is. He usually goes like, they're all my favorite. They're all my children. He went like, nah, this was my favorite one to work on. Just straight up. And like, you could kind of tell why. It had all the character moments you want to see from the franchise, all the iterations of Leatherface, amazing interactions between the family members. It was scary. It was intense. It was funny. You got really personal interactions. Like the hitchhiker, like every time I walked in the house, he had like multiple triggers in the room with like the wheel and grandpa. He'd say like my favorite line ever, I thought you was in a hurry. And I can't hear him say that like in any other POV. He just like saw me and knew I liked that line and just kept fucking pressing it. And it was fantastic. The chop tops were one of the chop tops pushing the carts was very good. And the rest of them in the house were very good too. I really liked going back to that original film at the end to tie everything together. The settings were great. The high up scares really got me because they would like poke whatever they were like holding like right at your head, and you would just you would duck down. You'd feel like your cattle, in a slaughterhouse. It was so well done. I'm so happy about this house. They did a fantastic job. Only problem I would say is I think this is a problem with a lot of the houses this year. Casting or like filling in, because there were so many times I'd go in this house or other houses, but this house was a big one where you walk in the house and like so many of the spots weren't filled. And it'd be like random times during the night where you go through and one time it's perfect and the house works completely. Then another time only half of the house is staffed and you're like, wait, what? Why? And that would happen often. So that was like one of my main gripes with the house, but everything else, the facade, yeah, fantastic. Fucking love this house. They did a great job. And I think this is better than HHN30s in Orlando. But
Ooh,
yeah.
Strong words for you.
Yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if we saw it full any of the runs we did, but I know that I've seen every every Leatherface at least once.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if I've seen them all together. And I will say, I did not realize that the Leatherface at the facade was an actor until like our second run in. Because he was just standing so still, and I did not even realize it.
So I think at the core of this house, it is a very well done house. I think we were very unlucky in the sense that we got very different runs every time. Some of that due to staffing, some of that due to ops, which I'll let others get into shortly. Where everything I take from the house is kind of more of a cumulative rather than a complete walkthrough at any point, unfortunately. Like I said, though, I think the house was clearly good. Like they did a great job. I say my biggest issue is that they didn't take ops into consideration. Like it didn't feel like a house or a maze. It just kind of felt like they were jumbling scenes together, and nothing was really conducive to walking through. Like just shoving a line of people through. Like it didn't work. And that got
it really did feel like you were cattle.
Yes.
I'll give them that much.
Yes.
Man.
It got
It really did.
frustrating at points. So
it's all the half walls too. I felt like I was a cattle, man.
Yeah. I don't know. Obviously the ops do matter. So I don't want to say like I don't want to take away from it for that, because that was just kind of left out of the design of the house, unfortunately. It felt like I liked a lot of the scenic, I liked a lot of the show moments. But yeah, it wasn't always an enjoyable walkthrough.
Oh, I know it wasn't an enjoyable walkthrough, because I remember I got into a verbal altercation with a team member in this house.
Yes, you did.
On maybe our second run, maybe our first run of it. I can't remember. But it was like every house we had been through, we were yelled at. And like, I understand they're doing their job, and I hate to yell at a team member. I hate to like talk back. They are doing what they're told. They don't get paid enough. This person was in our faces, screaming at us like we were children. And it was like, first of all, also hate to be this person, because any paying guest should get the same experience. We had our tour guide with us. This wasn't like they didn't know. We had our tour guide with us for RIP, and it was the first ops in the house. Yeah. It was nothing deep in. We were not causing a backup.
The transition hallway right at like after
the beginning,
half room. That's in the beginning.
Yeah. And we weren't filming, so it's not like we were stopping the line or doing anything like that. We were trying to enjoy the house for ourselves.
I'd like to point out, just so everyone's aware, there was no movement at this point.
No.
Like we were at a dead stop for, I don't know, 25 seconds, I'd say.
Yep. And the people in front of us not moving.
And the ops team member was literally just screaming to keep moving when there was no movement anywhere. Like we couldn't.
We're in your face.
Yeah. And I turned around and I was like, please stop yelling at me. All you guys have been doing the whole night is scream at all of us. And keep moving. I can't if the person in front of me. We had an issue in Monsters. Nobody was there to help us. No ops. But somebody stopped the whole fucking house to catch a show moment. Mm-hmm. There was no ops screaming at that point. I needed somebody to scream at that point. But like Texas Chainsaw, they created their own issue there with the backups. And that does not justify the ops being able to treat guests like that. And it doesn't justify the leaders putting the stress on the ops of having the people get through this maze and however many they need per hour.
100% agree with all of that. However, a simple look to the left and anyone with eyes could have seen that it was backed up.
Right.
So it was also that particular team member that really just like,
we're good.
Yeah.
It ruined the moment. But like for me, Leatherface is never my jam. I've said it before. I love that Jonathan loves him. I love that you got to see him for his 50th. I liked the maze. I did not dislike it at all, but I think that logistically it was a nightmare, and that took away from how fun it actually could be. Mm-hmm. And we also had really shitty runs the whole time, like everybody already said.
Which is so funny because there's, 7 other houses that have it kind of together. Like, why was this one always the one that was so weird?
I really think it's.
I mean, we got yelled at a few houses. This was the one where we just kind of lost it.
Yeah, no,
Mhm.
this one was always like
Yeah.
they would ramp it up to 100 in this one.
It was a combination of like this house. I think the maze design itself just again, it really did not work for guest flow. And B, we happened to run into the team member who decided they wanted to like literally scream at people
Oh, that's
for
bullshit,
nothing,
man.
like for literally nothing. That's the guest fault. I mean, like, I understand guests are assholes. I see it all the time. Sometimes you're gonna lash out at them. I don't care. Do that. Have fun. But we saw the same team member twice screaming in the same spot when people couldn't move.
Yeah, I'll never understand that. It's like, dude, take a breath. To like just look around for a second. I can't move, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it doesn't need to automatically be vocal necessarily. Like you're
Right.
also like the point of them is to really be seen and not heard, not for nothing. And really they should only be piping up when it's absolutely necessary. But it was just very consistent, so I was very taken aback by that overall.
So unfortunately, what I think was a very solid house. Experiences were kind of ruined, and it wasn't just that one run. That was the only run where I think I'd say a team member maybe overstepped a bit. But every other time, like there were still the issues of just guest flow. For some reason, this house, it didn't matter if there was no wait or there was a 2-hour wait. Like the guest flow was atrocious every time we walked through. And it ruined show moments. It ruined interactions. It hurt the house that you could tell was actually pretty good. All right, with that, let's move on then. To our final house, the Weekend Nightmare trilogy, where surprisingly, I'm going to pass this off to Jess.
Oh.
I really love this house. I already went on and ruined the whole facade about me in the weekend. We got over our beef. I really enjoyed this. I thought it was great.
Wait, were you fighting the facade weekend or
No, I was fighting the weekend for 2 years. Personally. We had a beef. Because of wrestling and everything and HHN. I had no fucking break from the man.
Oh, that's right.
But I will say it's kind of funny. The year that we make amends with this invisible beef, he's no longer WrestleMania themed now. This is the first year he won't have it.
Dang.
So we had to squash our beef. He had to have a really good house. I liked it better than the first one that Hollywood did. I don't think I liked it. And mind you, this is someone who, when I say I'm a fan of The Weeknd, casual listener, I listen to the songs I like. I don't know anything. Duff, when you said one album was red and one album was blue, I almost had to leave the room. I was like, what? I was giggling. I was like, who knows that? So I'm very pedestrian. I thought that this was scary. They were aggressive. I didn't know where half the shit came from, but I really liked the settings we were in. So I really liked it.
Yeah, it had a cool edge to it, a dark edge to it.
Big fan.
Same.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I really liked all the characters and the sets and everything. I mean, you kind of understood what was going on, but also didn't understand what was going on, which was kind of like it kind of worked, kind of the though. Weekend. But it kind of like worked. And I think like every time we went through it, it's not like it was empty, but every time we went through it, I feel like there was something different, which was really cool because it still wasn't empty. Like there was just new characters in a spot that a different character was at. And so like I feel like every run there was just like new characters that I didn't see before, which was really cool.
It was really fun. I liked it. I think it was one of my favorite, like just overall experience wise. And it's like probably sticks with me the most out of all of them, especially in like terms of characters, like that eyeball dancer woman. Loved her. Think about her a lot. But yeah, overall, I think it was a lot of fun. It's another one that I like left always being like, I'm really glad I did that.
Yeah.
I was so shocked by how good the facade was. Not just in how it looked, because it did look good.
Oh man,
how
so fun.
alive it became. Like just so much fun. I never got to see the transition personally. I have seen a video of it at this point. I mean, come on, like that's unnecessary to do.
Such a
they
fun
did it.
touch. Yeah.
And they did it.
Yeah.
Um,
Exactly.
The house itself, I think there was a few issues. I think pacing was a bit strange at points, and there were some really long transitions. But otherwise, I think every room you walked into uh, had just really good moments. I think there was a kind of a deep story in there that you could pick up on. Character design was a lot of fun. There's really not too much to knock on this.
Hell yeah. Speaking of deep story, I really think this was the only house on both coasts that really had something to say besides, like, you know, scary goblins, or stuff like that. Even the ones I like, this one felt like it had themes about, getting over your problems, rebirth, how hard that is, how painful it could be, sort of changing yourself as a person to sort of get to the next step in life, and cutting off some things that aren't of use to you anymore. It dealt with so much of that, and I just think that's the best part of the house, is just how well it did the story. The fact that Jim Carrey was in the fucking house is like the audio, like the entire time, guiding you through it. You felt not only you're watching the Weekend story, but that you were almost experiencing this too. You were going on this journey through purgatory to enter into heaven. And Hollywood had the balls to have religious shit in the house. Like, there were angels that were, in the house, and they were like, yep, every angel is terrifying. And I know Orlando, we're gonna have angels, and they're like, nope, never mind. So I really enjoyed that, and the fact that the last line of the house that you hear is, in order to see heaven, you need to be heaven, tying up the themes of the album and basically the theme of the entire house, was just absolutely perfect. And I really think I'll get to that in the rankings, but it was very fucking good, and definitely better than Hollywood's first attempt. I really did enjoy it.
Wow, that was really deep, Jonathan.
I love a Jonathan thematic breakdown of a Weekend house so much. That was like one of my first conversations with him when I met him in person, and I was like, hell yeah, I live for this.
I remember I was giving you like scene by scene breakdown of After Hours in Orlando.
But I mean, I was like, yeah, dude, this is amazing.
All right. Any last thoughts on the Weekend Nightmare trilogy?
Dope.
Love her.
Yeah.
Agreed. So,
yeah, the facade, amazing.
I think it is time to hop into our rankings for HHN Hollywood houses and the Terror Tram. We're going to kind of fly through these since we have already discussed all of them at length. I'm going to guess we all have the same last place.
Probably not.
No? Okay, never mind. All right, so
probably not.
In that case, oh, okay. Let's do John, kick us off.
Okay. Starting right at the bottom of the list is Monstros.
Oh,
I can see why.
I get it.
I can't see why it's under my number 9, but otherwise I get it.
Oh wait, are we including the Terror
Yes,
Tram?
including Terror Tram.
Yes,
Including
yes,
Terror
yes.
Tram.
Okay, yeah, that stands.
Okay. Okay. Wow.
That stands.
All right, and then Daniel.
Mine is Texas Chainsaw.
Oh.
I'm not surprised.
Just for me, not my favorite. I also just think that our 30 house was better, but we did not get good runs, and we had the whole ops experience, so it just really left a bad taste in my mouth.
That is understandable.
Very fair.
Okay. Does anyone else not have Terror Tram at 9? I'll just say it.
Me, I don't have it.
Good.
I
Oh,
don't have Terror Tram.
well, yeah, you already said it. I know that.
I have A Quiet Place.
Okay.
I get
Do
it.
you also?
Yeah, I
Wow.
also have A Quiet Place.
B also has A Quiet Place. at 9.
Okay.
Well, I have Terror Tram.
I have Terror Tram.
Terror Tram.
Cute.
Wow.
All right. I guess I'll go to number 8. Universal Monsters Eternal Bloodlines.
That is also my number 8.
That is also my number 8.
Interesting.
That's where my
I
Terror
have-
Tram is.
Okay.
I have
Yeah,
Quiet
it's Terror
Place
Tram
right
for me.
there.
Okay, yeah, that's Terror Tram for me. Quiet Place for Mary.
Okay.
Mhm.
Insidious for number 8.
Wow.
Oh.
Well,
Okay.
I have Insidious at 7.
Okay.
I have Bloodline.
Okay.
That's 7.
Yeah, it's 7.
7 for me is A Quiet Place.
7
I
for me.
have-
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, I was
Jonathan,
just
go.
going to jump on because 7's also A Quiet Place for me.
There you go.
Texas Chainsaw.
Same for me. Same.
This is where Terror Tram is for me.
Ah.
I have 6 for A Quiet Place.
I have 6 for Monstros.
6 is also
That's where I have
Monstrous.
Monstrous as
Me
well.
too.
I have
6 is Bloodlines for me.
6 is also Bloodlines for me too.
Nice.
I have a Monstros Dos at 5.
That's Terror
Interesting.
Tram for me.
At
That's
5?
Bloodlines.
Oh.
Whoa.
Well, yeah, it
because
is
I,
really
I mean,
high.
I already said everything, like half of the list, so it had to go
I mean,
somewhere.
Did you just put
Again,
it in the middle?
Yeah, that's literally what I did.
It was a new
guess.
experience for him. He's never done a tram or Terror Tram or
No, yeah.
anything.
Neither had I.
Again, like
Yeah.
overall, I thought it was a cool use
I
of
didn't
like
mean to
the
judge you.
sets, but like it
Sorry.
was also not good enough to be at the top either. So it's right smack in the
Okay.
middle.
Fair.
I figured
Speak your truth,
you
Daniel.
considered
Speak your
more about where
truth.
to put it than Daniel.
I did. No, I actually completely forgot it existed. But then I hated A Quiet Place more.
What number are we on? 5?
Yes.
Yes.
5, yeah.
5 for me is Insidious.
I also have Insidious.
That's where I
There.
put Bloodlines.
It's Ghostbusters for me.
Mm.
And it's Monstros 2 for me.
Oh. Okay.
Well, Ghostbusters is my number 4.
Me also.
Me also.
Insidious.
Oh.
Insidious for me as well.
Oh, wow. I had to be the different
Over
one.
to you.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Oh, okay.
Hey, it's higher than I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
I think I gotta change something on the fly just because
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
I think I'm basing something off of what it should be and not what it was. So I'm going to put Texas Chainsaw Massacre at 3.
Wow.
I also put Texas Chainsaw Massacre there because I could see it. I could see it.
The
It
vision
wasn't
was
there for me. The vision was there.
You gave them 3 for effort.
Hey, yeah.
Ghostbusters is my number 3.
That's also my number
That's
3.
my number 3.
Oh, wow. The Weekend. Abel Grable, number 3 for me.
Oh.
And number 3 for me is Dead Exposure.
Mm,
Wow.
okay. My number 2 is Dead Exposure.
It's also my number 2, Mary.
Same here. Same here.
No, The Weekend was my number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Did we lose Duffington?
Oh.
Duff,
Muted.
you're muted.
Did I accidentally hit? Oh, I did. The answer keys right there.
Ah.
Shit.
How many did we miss?
That's okay.
Just that one.
I think
Oh, just
yeah.
that one. Perhaps I was like,
Just 2.
My number 2,
yeah.
Dead Exposure.
Wow.
Yeah.
My number 2 is Texas.
Whoa. Okay. Interesting.
Everyone did their number 2s.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
My number 1,
Mhm.
The Weekend, Nightmare Trilogy.
Same.
The Weekend.
Same.
Nice.
Same.
That exposure for me.
Wow.
That was almost my number 1.
I really had a great time in that house.
It's a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
it's a fun one. It's a quiet place for me, folks.
Ugh.
I think.
Wow. Upset of the season.
Yeah.
This feels like when I put The Weekend as number 1 on my hype list and I record scratched the whole episode.
Mhm.
Wow.
I think The Weekend was my favorite house that year. It like in Orlando and Hollywood. I was going over it a lot, like going between my number 1 was Ghostbusters and Orlando and Weekend in Hollywood. And I think it's Weekend. I think this is the first time a Hollywood house for me beat Orlando like is number 1. So and
Wow.
it stuck with me. I sat on it for a while, but Yeah, it's number one.
That's wow. Okay, all right. I respect it. I do.
Happy for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do have one last.
Quite the
Oh,
honor.
John, go ahead.
Sorry, no, go ahead.
I do have one last question about HHN Hollywood before we move on, and I'm going to actually group this to separate ways. So first, Daniel and B, how was HHN Hollywood for your first experience?
Mediocre at best.
All right.
I was glad that I paid to be spoiled.
Correct.
Yes.
That
Correct.
that made pretty much made sure that I was going to at least leave like satisfied with that.
The like experience with RIP, which is obviously not the general experience, was so much fun. Like great night, but I wouldn't say the event was great.
So you would both highly recommend RIP in Hollywood
If you're gonna do it,
if you're
or at least
if you're
only do
going
it
to
for, like, one
Hollywood.
night.
Yeah.
One night you're out of town, like it's a whole
100%.
or like it's a whole vacation moment for you. Yeah, I think that's way more worth
Yeah,
it.
and if you know you care about going to the event and kind of like just checking that off your list, like 100% worth the money.
All right. So for those of us who are returning visitors to HHN Hollywood, was this a good year?
Not my favorite year. I think I liked, out of what I've done, 22 the best. Because I really liked La Llorona. But it's okay. I still think that I would agree with Daniel and B that RIP is definitely still always worth it for me. And we just had an amazing tour guide this year, though.
Jonathan?
This year had 2 exclusive houses, only on Hollywood side, that were 2 of some of my favorite IPs ever. And that alone was going to make it a good year, especially that you can exit Texas and jump right into the weekend. I did that so many times, like over my 2 nights. So with those 2 houses alone, yeah, it was a fucking good year. I loved it.
Jess?
I think that I'm grateful to get to go to both coasts every year. So I wanna say that.
Take that how you will.
No, I don't want to sound like ungrateful. Like I spend my money, I use my PTO. Like I'm grateful that I get to do this every year. I will say in the 3 years I've gone, this is in third place. And that's just because I've been to better years. I do agree, Mary. I think 2022 is probably my favorite so far that I've been. But like I'm always going to be going out to California for Knott's first and HHN second.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
So.
And I'm going to save the longest tenured Hollywood person for last, so I'm going to go next. It was about on par with last year for me, to be honest, which is okay. It was okay. I've seen Hollywood do better multiple times at this point. I do think there was a pretty strong high there. I think there was a slight improvement in scare zones from the year past. Otherwise, that bottom half of houses can be rough. That's my biggest thing. So it was just fine. So John.
Yeah, I think you described it very well, Duff. It was fine. It was an amazing. I like the addition of the crow zone. Those crows are amazing. Bring them back every year. I did like that they finally used what was the Whoville set as part of the Terror Tram. That's great. Keep up that energy. But yeah, I think overall, I mean, they didn't really reinvent the wheel at all, with the exception of A Quiet Place, which to me was like the highest tier of house execution that season. So keep that energy up, and then maybe we'll be halfway decent in comparison to Orlando.
And I will say, as we wrap this up, obviously we go to Hollywood every year, and overall we enjoy it. So sorry if our opinions on Hollywood aren't what you want them to be. That's just the case. It's not just being from Orlando. I mean, you heard John's thoughts. He is pretty much on the same plane as we are. So just remember that. We don't hate the event. We just know it can be better.
Yeah, we want it to be better.
Exactly.
We want better for it because we love it.
Begrudgingly, I do love it. And I keep coming back every year.
You can do it, buddy. You can do it.
And that was Halloween Horror Nights 2024. And you know what? This episode's already well over 2 hours, so we're going to do a to be continued and talk about Knots next week. So with that, we're going to wrap this episode up. So I do want to thank our guest for coming, and I want to give them the floor to talk about themselves and where they can find you if they want you to find them. So let's start off with Daniel.
Well, final thoughts. Just happy that I get to have these fun experiences with my friends and help them create content. And also a whole trip of firsts for me. So I had a great time overall. The Polaroids, amazing. Apple dancing, all that stuff. As Jess pulls out a Polaroid of a bird from one of the Disneyland resorts.
Grand California.
There's so many.
So, yeah, overall I had a great time. Glad I got to again cross some things off my list, and hope we get to do it again sometime. But until the next time, you can find me at _Daniel_ on Instagram, as I no longer have Twitter. Sorry about it. But otherwise, if you find me, I'll let you know.
Stop.
Amazing.
Beautiful.
Amazing.
Pete?
Glad to be here. If you want to find me, I have a Twitter at bparkhops that I can't get into because I forgot the password when I deleted Twitter off my phone and we were in California.
So follow me where I can't follow you.
Maybe I'll reset the password finally. But yeah, that happened on the California trip when I deleted Twitter. And then I can't get back in.
Hate when that happens.
So that's the only place people can
And
find
that
you.
burger says on Instagram, like a hamburger, but yes, I was stressed when Duff was like, how can they contact you?
I mean, they don't have to contact you.
They don't need to if you don't want to.
Give them your home address right now.
It just made me remember I have a Twitter I can't get into.
Want some pen pals, maybe? You know?
You never know.
What's your P.O. box?
Before that comes out, I'm going to move on to Mary.
I always enjoy doing these episodes because they're fun. But you can find me. I don't really use them as much anymore, but my Twitter is MareBear394, and my Instagram is x3maryx33. But yeah, I'm not very entertaining.
I would argue that.
Disagree.
Yeah, that is false.
Yeah, no, most entertaining.
I just haven't put my impersonations out there for the world to see just yet.
Oh my God, the Jennifer Coolidge. Was it Jennifer Coolidge, right? Or...
Yes.
Gwen Stefani is our
Gwen
Yeah.
Stefani,
I
Jennifer
I think I have that
Coolidge.
filmed.
Yeah, absolutely.
The Jennifer Coolidge and the Insidious
Yeah.
opening.
I was going to
is
say,
just-
feel free to say
Oh.
no, but I think that's the one thing you have to do real quick.
I forgot how to go.
How does it go?
How does it
Which
go?
one?
Open
Insidious.
open your eyes, step
Oh.
outside, let my voice be your guide.
You're doing it.
Yeah.
Okay. But I don't
Is
okay.
it close your eyes?
Close your eyes. Let my voice be your guide. Into the further you go, he's got your baby. That's what I really like to say. He's got your baby.
I love
Well,
that so much. I
lately
can't even
I've been
tell you.
doing-
Wow, that's a
Let's
feedback in
I've been
time.
doing a
Without
Jennifer
seeing you,
Coolidge
that's so much better.
impression.
Oh my God, I'm so glad the world has that now.
There it is.
I've been singing "Defying Gravity" in Jennifer Coolidge's voice lately.
Oh wow.
Oh, we're gonna have to
there's
save
a-
that for part 2.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
yeah,
not
save that
happening.
for
Yes,
dogs.
parts-
And John, of course, from the Hauntline, always hanging out with us for these West Coast
Oh.
episodes.
Yeah, man, it's always a pleasure, brother. I'm happy to be a part of the 365 family here, even though I'm way out here in the West Coast. But Orlando has my heart, as always. Yeah, you can find us at the Hauntline on Instagram.
Did someone just kill a fly?
I think so.
Marty, sorry.
Marty, good shot. Damn. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok while it lasts, at the Hauntline. And yeah, we got some fun stuff coming up, so stay tuned.
Always a pleasure. And guess what? Every one of these people is going to be back next week when we talk about Knott's Scary Farm 2024.
Yeah, buddy.
Which I think we all enjoyed. Well, okay. All but one of us enjoyed quite a bit. So with that, follow us Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube at HHN365, TikTok at HHN365pod, our Discord where we talk HHN and haunts in general all year round. That link will be in the description. Check out our merch at HHN365.com. And if you want to join us here on the show, leave us a voicemail at 407-906-4134. And that's going to be it for this week. We'll see you in the streets.